Sviet kādam. Šeit nav Krievija. Es gribētu vēl vienreiz atgādināt. Un šeit nekad nebūs Krievija. Nesapņojiet par to.
Hello. Pozdrav. Sorry, the neighbor came. I had to go down to say hi. Okay, nice. I'm sitting here right now. Okay. Proper proper. I don't want to play the fucking video again, because then I'm just gonna play them forever. But also my light is not on, so give me a sec. Wanna listen to Scientist Salarian?
I am the very model of a scientist Solarian. I've studied species Turian, Asari, and Batarian. I'm quite good at genetics as a subset of biology because I am an expert, which I know is a tautology. In 4 directions cardinal, I know the blot routinary. I problem solve with tools and guns and even farm machinery. I perfectly recall your genome curing by pyrimidine. Rhyme required for pyrimidine. Ah, yes. I'll diagnose the cause of every symptom you're exhibiting. Diagnose the cause of every symptom you're exhibiting. Diagnose the cause of every symptom you're exhibiting. Diagnose the cause of every symptom you're exhibiting. My knowledge is prodigious, though I'm stuffy and professory. I'm fluent
Okay,
in the
I'm
Vorcha
back.
tongue and Hanar luminescery. My xenoscience studies range from urban to agrarian. I am the very model of a scientist Solarian.
Come on, how cool is it?
By breakfast time, I'm curing secret swarm-induced paralysis. My ideal date would finish with statistical analysis. I've mastered optic instruments, reflective and refractory.
Ideal
I don't
dates
begrudge
that
the
he
Floridians,
didn't
their
want to have with me,
hypochondriac.
by the way.
I've memorized identical
Just reminding you of that, okay?
I've written paper scores and scores and that
I tried to bang
I'll
more than-
classify my enemies with nary an apology.
And he refused my advances.
Apology suffix. Not difficult. Then spend my weekends brushing up on Elcor enzymology.
At least he died. As deserved, as deserved. Oh, he's very loud. He
When I
goes in
complete a
yellows.
surgery, I sign my name in suturing. I cut up
He deserved
morbidary
it, he
and
deserved
Finkel's
it.
famous butchering. If knowledge is a
Like, he
library,
does
then
the
I'm
whole
its
thing.
librarian. I am the very model
What's
of
his
a
quote?
scientist
If it wasn't me, it had to be me. Someone else might have gotten it wrong, you know? And I'm like, you did get it wrong. Because you refused to sleep with me, you little bitch.
When I tell you're a sorry child, her genes are only sort of yours. When I expound the theories that my colleagues find heretical. When I know all the finer points of therapies genetical.
But come on, how
When
impressive
I
is it
cure
though?
cancer with my brain just halfway
You don't
functioning.
think-
When I can fix mutating cells, the point the non-disjunctioning. In
Wait.
short, when I've a smattering of trans
They're
genetic
frogs.
strategy. Strategy.
Or?
Challenging rhyme. Philately?
They're frogs?
Stamp collecting, too esoteric.
What are they based on?
Saturday,
Frogs,
homage to
fish?
original lyrics. No, risk of archaic vocabulary confusing audience.
Oh.
Something simpler preferred. Had to be me? No, no, doesn't fit meter. No, no. Yes! It had to be done rightly, and so I'm the one it had to be.
If it's fish, it would make sense that the females lay a bunch of eggs.
My skeptics
So
call
he
me
may
mad,
not
no,
have a
they
dick.
always try
Fish
to
don't have a
censor me.
dick, right?
Actuary tables say I'll live just half a century. I've surveyed every habitat from
Maybe he
Terran
has
to
a thing like
riparian.
birds
I
do.
am
You
the
know how
very
birds
model
have?
of a
No,
scientist
that's
Solarian.
Turians. Turians have the bird thing, right? Fuck, lizard? Lizard? Ah, he does have the. What is that?
At treating barren STDs, I've singular ability. I don't prescribe black market testicles to fix fertility. I've
Huh,
treated every
I never
paradigm
thought
from
about
circus to
it.
Novaria.
I always just
Scientist fauna
assumed.
in the field and in aquaria. A bolus
I assumed he
pharmaceuticals,
has
my
it,
memories
but
catalog.
now
I
that
know
you
of all the
mentioned
protein
it,
glands and
it
rabbit
does
order
make
catalogs. My
sense they
mastery
could
of
be
gel
like
anatomy is incomparable.
fish.
My soil science would suffice to make your chunk a
Like they
arable.
have an aquarium inside a house. And then the wife just like lays a bunch of eggs. Lays a bunch of eggs in the aquarium. And then the dude comes in, jizzes all over them. They have like a million kids immediately. Kick them out of the house. They have conversations sometimes like, oh, my son is already 3 days old and he's still living in the house. What a freeloader. I actually don't know. I got this in my recommended very recently, and I've just been playing it over and over. I don't even know. Will Rowland? Is Will Rowland the actual voice actor? Who the hell knows? I don't remember the names. I know Shepherds. And I know the one actress for the hot Asari mummy, but I always forget her name. Theater, Film, Television, Awards nominations. So I guess not, I guess not. Amphibian? So that's...
This has been amusing.
Oh?
To discover the most primitive races of my time now rule the galaxy. The Asari, the humans, the Turians.
There's also the Solarians.
The lizard people evolved.
Oh, the lizard
I
people.
believe they're amphibian.
Oh, amphibian.
They used to eat flies.
Could be amphibian. Frogs. Frogs do the thing. Like fishes. Or, how do frogs mate? Reproduction. They lay their eggs in water. Oh, but they do breed. Fertilization is internal. The male extrudes an introminant organ, which is, by the way, an external organ of a male organism that is specialized to deliver sperm during copulation. They mean a penis. Fun fact. So they take the introminant organ and they insert it into the female cloaca. But this is in caecilians, and caecilians are these things. Oh no, definitely not like ours. Like I could imagine it being I have to actually know. Would it have a bony structure? I could imagine like a bony structure, whatever the hell. Hey yo, Jarl, how's life going? Majority of salamanders also engage in internal fertilization. Now, if you look at what a salamander looks like, does this remind you of Morden? He does eat flies. He's a bit less... maybe yeah. He could be a Solarian. He could be... salamander. He could be a salamander. So if he is a salamander, it means, what do they have? Spermatophory. Small packet of sperm on top of a gelatinous cone. No, he leaves it. He leaves a small packet of sperm on top of a gelatinous cone, either on land or in the water, and then the female takes the packet of sperm, grasps it with the lips of her cloaca, and pushes it into the vent. So he leaves a little package, and she takes the little package, pushes it inside herself, and she is pregnant. So therefore, my romance with Morden was kinda failed from the start. Because I'm pretty sure I can't do that. I'm pretty sure I can't do that physically. I can't really pick up a little package. Air alarm, you had it now? Holy shit. Hope you're good. I hope everyone around you is safe. But thought snakes have no legs because God cursed the Satan snake in the Garden of Eden. Oh, same. Like they had snakes. That was my favorite thing. I once asked my mother about this and she got angry. And then we never had a conversation about it again. But it was like, oh, well, after the Garden of Eden thing, God cursed snakes and then they had no legs after the Garden of Eden. And then I was like, But when you look at the drawings and stuff of the Garden of Eden, the snake already doesn't have legs then. So how did the god take away the legs after, if the legs were already not there before? And I just remember never getting a response to that. So, you know, in case you're speaking to some priest these days, please do ask them. I would love to know. Amphibian haplodiploid egg layers. Unfertilized eggs produce males and fertilized eggs produce females. Once a year, a Salarian female will lay a clutch of dozen of eggs. Social rules prevent all but a fraction from being fertilized. As a result, 90% of the species is male, so Salarians are basically filled with incels. A bunch of the species have to be incels because there's like 90% dudes around and they can't find a wife. But can you imagine Salarians being like, oh yeah, Salarian Stacys keep on dating Salarian Chads. So Salarian Betas have no one to date because there's only 10% women in our society. 1 in 10 men will find a wife. Know how hard it is to be top 1 in a group of 10 men? Very, very fucking hard. And then Mordin Solus, he gets all the bitches. Mordin Solus single-handedly made his entire city into a city of incels because he stole every single female. If I was a Salarian female, I'm just saying. Mass Effect Codex goes into so much detail. There's the games are just like, it's magic, I don't know. Oh yeah, I love that. I used to be really, really into reading it. Like the whole theories about how different species have evolved and stuff like that. It's really, really interesting. It's also very good written though. It's a cool game. I recommend playing Mass Effect. Go and play Mass Effect, okay? Best game ever. Bank Caden Alenko, because why not? I did not expect to see that. But, hey, horned frog. That's basically what Morden is, isn't it? They're based on salamanders. Is there a salamander with a horn? Well, these are some lame-ass salamanders with lame-ass horns. That's fucking lazy. Wanna play some League of Legends? Unironically, kinda. There's a wolf they added. Have you seen the wolf they added? I have to show you my stuff. I've saved cool stuff for like the stream. And now I'm gonna show you League of Legends. That's kinda sad. Didn't play in years? I hate playing alone. Ah, makes sense, makes sense. Look, they added... Let me show you the wolf. Oh, I don't know where the fuck the wolf is. Oh, here's the wolf. Nafiri is her name. Nafiri. This one. She's kinda strong. Apparently though, she's banned in like 90% of games. So you can't really play her now because she's a new character and she's way too overpowered. It's just, I like the idea of playing a dog. I really want to play a dog. But also she goes to mid and I'm not really a mid player. I'm like a support top player, so I'm not too certain I could be playing her well. Oh, you like mid ADC? Oh shit, I don't. I like tank or support. I've always been a tank or support gamer. I don't know how to play other roles. That's basically the cinematic, it's not too important. But she's a wolf. And then what she does is she has a pack. And the pack hunts with her. We should do Wikidex League of Legends team. My boyfriend's playing. I think he's mid. I think he does mid. I can make him play too. He also hates playing. He deinstalled the fucking game recently. Because it was getting him way too toxic. And then he returned it. Oh, jungle seems hard as fuck. Jungle seems hard as fuck. Look at them! I just don't want to play you so badly. Oh, look at this. Together. We feast. She does a thing. I don't want fucking lore explained. I want to see what she does. Goddamn lore explained. It's League of Legends. I don't even have proper lore. She has. You can pet the wolfie. You can pet the wolfie.
Stubborn Aatrox, so driven.
Oh, she's just bitching around. Shut the fuck up. But she has a bunch of small wolfies. See, there's like small wolfies, and then whoever she attacks, the wolfies are attacking whoever she attacks too. And she's a bit too strong because of it. So apparently people have been bitching about it because it's League of Legends players, and they like bitching about strong female characters existing and devouring them. But I think she's kind of cool. Also, I've been playing Teamfight Tactics, and they added her to Teamfight Tactics, but she's not really good. She kind of sucks. She kind of sucks balls. Third Nagorno-Karabakh War. I saved something on it, but a bad fucking situation. Like the war started. It seems like the war fucking started. I was seeing reports in the morning. People were like, oh yeah, there's people claiming that there's what's the word? Military shit happening on the ground, and ever since then I'm just saying, getting more and more strong reports of it. Holy shit, it's very, very concerning. I don't know how we are going to. Didn't I save? I thought I saved something on France. Did I not save something on France here? That sucks. But basically there's a France is calling to do something about this. I don't know if we are going to do something about this. I don't know if anyone's going to do something about this. But apparently there's going to be a meeting to figure out how we should react. They're calling for a strong response in the region. Now listen, knowing how knowing how our people have, wait, you can't see the text. Knowing how we have given strong responses to the situation in Ukraine, I don't really have too high hopes, but I am hoping, of course, that we do something about this. It's a bad fucking situation. It's very, very, very concerning. It seems to be largely just ignored by Russia. I had a theory of Dylan's server that the reason Turkey did 180 on Sweden and Finland was because they were promised no intervention in Nagorno-Karabakh. Oh. Oh, shit. Huh. Wait, but am I mistaken, or is Turkey bitching? Why didn't I just have this around? Or are they bitching again? Do we think they changed their mind? The fact they were promised no intervention is rather interesting. Could be though. Could be. I wouldn't be too surprised by it. I didn't update this shit from yesterday. Okay, updated it. Romania will be neutral. Ooh. Because we had a similar situation in Transnistria. I see that. It's quite similar, the way I understand it, it's quite similar to Kosovo. And I don't know. I know what Azerbaijan is doing right now must be condemned. That is what I know. I know what they have been doing is they have basically been starving the civilian population. They have closed the Lachin corridor. They have starved the civilian population, and now they are shelling the region. It does seem like ethnic cleansing. Now, I have seen people claim that Armenia had military presence in the area, which was not supposed to be there, which I don't think would be an excuse for Azerbaijani actions, especially considering the fact that Armenians feared that there's going to be ethnic cleansing of their people, and now it seems that that's actually what's going on. It's just... Man, I've got no idea what anyone can do. And also, the fact that Russia is silent on this kind of weirds me the fuck out. Oh. End of 2025 at the latest. 226. I see that. I see that. Let's support Armenia like Ukraine. Let's stop Erdogan like Putin. So like, do nothing in that situation. Give them a tiny amount of help. But I see what you mean. I see what you mean. I do think that Armenia has entered the coalition with Russia out of need, not out of specifically wanting to align with them. So I do think supporting them would be a good choice to make. Russia pulled from the region. Yeah, remember Russia betrayed Armenia when another escalation was happening. Armenia asked for Russian help, and Russia basically said, "Nah, we don't give a shit about you, dude." So then Armenia got angry. Then you had Armenians protesting against CSO, protesting for NATO, and then you had Zakharova doing a little rant about how Armenians are ungrateful because Russia has been supporting them all of this time, but now, you know, the second Russia can't do something to support them, they turn against it, which like makes sense. Like, how it makes absolute fucking sense. Like, they were relying on you for security. Of course, they get angry if you betray them. Azovstal, shit. They needed to reinforce meat in Ukraine. RIP. Yeah. By the way, Romania is like the top friend of Ukraine right now. So GG. All our lines are busy. Yeah, basically, yeah. If Romania is supporting Armenia, it could be viewed by Russia as a green light to recognize Transnistria as independent. Hey, you know how I see that though? I think that in no way whatsoever should we care about how decisions of our countries are going to impact the Moscovian shithole. I believe that if Russia tries to recognize Transnistria as independent, we need to wipe our ass with their declaration. And it's the same thing we should do with all of their recognitions. They shouldn't be recognized as a valid state in the first place, let alone a country whose opinions we should be fearing. I am aware they would use it for their propaganda. And I guess I come from a very strong point of like, they're going to be full of shit anyways. Like, if we don't support Armenia, they're going to use that to claim that we're doing something wrong. If we do support Armenia, they're going to use that to claim we are doing something wrong. No matter what we do, Russia is going to figure out a way to make it into a spin for their own side. So maybe we should just do what is right and agree to not take Russia seriously. Turkey, we have to have them on board for Ukraine and Sweden to get into NATO. Yeah. European Union, we get them into European Union. We get them inside European Union. It's like some security guarantee, right? Not as good as with NATO though. Yeah, Zelensky's in USA.
Viva Ucrania!
USA, keep our man safe. Holy shit. Man, I'm kind of tense about the fact he's in USA. I don't know. But also, I've seen people commenting on this, and they're claiming that the area is like really, really fucking secure. There's a lot of diplomats there all the time, so everything is fully protected. He's gonna be good. He's gonna be good. Zelensky can do that. Nah, I feel like they're gonna be okay. I would kind of like for them to meet to talk about shit. Because I think both sides are understandable, you know? I feel both of them come from an understandable position. I just wish they figured out a way to coexist. I'd rather see my fatherland outside of NATO than to play the dirty game of the Ottomans. Ah shit, yeah, that too. That too, yeah. Like, do you want to stoop to their level? Wherever Russia is involved, there's war. If you read the history of Nagorno-Karabakh, it's fucking wild. It's fucking wild. The region has seen some serious shit. Not at all helped by USSR, actually. Not at all helped by fucking USSR. So it's one of those situations, like very similar to Kosovo, truly. I see it as very similar to Kosovo, in which these people have wanted to separate from the state for quite a long time, but the state still claims their territory. And then you have them like battling over who it should be belonging to. The difference between that and Serbia Kosovo right now is that Serbia would not dare to do an invasion, while Azerbaijan does. I think Ilham can't really imagine someone would dare to stand against him, and it's true. Like, it is kind of what we're seeing, isn't it? Let me try to DC to just get a chance to see him. Man, only 17 hours? Hey, nice. That's about as much time as it's gonna take for the UN to, you know, do first part of their meeting, which is going to be like, hello everyone, we have met here to talk about how Russia is absolutely a good country, and also they are celebrating something else today. What are they celebrating today? What holiday is it? It's probably something. UN is gonna talk about it. 17 hours of the meeting gonna be just that shit. Duda has no influence? Well, that sucks then. That kinda sucks. I see why he wouldn't be able to do it. It just sucks. It's kinda sad. Autocorrect! Dirty games all the time? True. I think sometimes we should be expecting some sort of morality. Oh shit. Ooh. Man, I'm so fucking concerned over this. Hey, Norway! Tracked transport vehicles, thank you, Norway. You are my best friend. You are the peacekeeper. You are the legend. Thank you, Norway. You are my best friend. By the way, fun fact. The reason why Zelensky is going to the UN summit today, you know why Zelensky is going there? Is because UN released a report saying Croatia is bad. And Zelensky is there to beat their asses. I have first-hand information, actually. He's gonna go there, beat everyone up to defend our honor. Thank you, Zelensky. They released a report. I have to show you the report. I still haven't had time to read it, because I saw people talking about it just today. But one part of it is about how Croatia is mistreating our Roma population, which is true. So that's true. So UN based on this. The other part is on how Croatia is mistreating our Serb population. By the way, I'm getting ads every once in a while in the background shit. But like, mistreating our Serb population? We're not doing that. When the actual fuck? We don't do that. I would love to read this. We may like go and read it during the stream. I would love to see what they think we are doing to the Serb population, because I absolutely fully agree with Croatia mistreating the Roma population, definitely. But like Serbs, discrimination in employment, Serbs. There's been a whole ass meme this year about like when you go to tourist spots in Croatia, it's mostly Serbs working there. There's 3 different construction companies near the place I work now. One of them is fully Serb, like owned by Serbs, and Serbs are working there. I very much doubt that we are mistreating Serbs. Roma people, yes, but like Serbs? No, we're GG with Serbs. All based. Zelensky called for the exclusion of Russia from the UN Security Council because of the war against Ukraine. Based. President of Ukraine called insulting the fact that there is still a place for Russian terrorists in the international community. Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov is expected to speak in New York. All the details. Zelensky called for the exclusion of Russia from the UN Security Council. He emphasized that he considers it unfair that the state that launched an aggressive war against Ukraine remains a permanent member of the UN Security Council and has the right of veto. Zelensky called the fact that there is still a place for Russian terrorists in the international community insulting. Based. He made a call to exclude Russia from the UN Security Council on September 19th, before the first personal speech at the General Assembly in New York. Immediately after landing at the New York International Airport, the head of state went to the soldiers of the armed forces of Ukraine who were wounded at the front and are being treated at the Staten Island clinic. Zelensky's speech is expected to September 19th at around 6 in the evening Central European Summer Time. When the fuck is that? Oh, now. Nice. The head of state will talk about the need to increase assistance to Ukraine in defense against Russian aggression, as well as about the Ukrainian peace formula and the creation of a tribunal for war criminals from Russia. All of it based, every single word there based. Yeah, they asked him if he's going to be listening to Lavrov, and he said he doesn't know. It's like, yeah. What? Russian strike killed 6 volunteers working in Kupiansk. They probably provoked it with having like a cross on them or whatever. Was there a red cross sign? Russia sees it as a target. I wanted to see if there's like a live of the UN conference. Oh, nice, TLDR. No, I guess no. UN, New York.
We're not the first, and we're not the last. Pressures to isolate and weaken economies and sovereign states are also today affecting Venezuela, Nicaragua.
Waiting
This
for my
video is
man.
brought to you by Imprint.
Waiting for my man
Today-
Zelensky. Shut the fuck up. You got it? Oh, nice. You're also watching that one? I'm just waiting for him to appear. I didn't miss him, I think. Daddy?
Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States. I request protocol to
Bidensky.
escort His Excellency.
Look at
On
this.
behalf
Look at
On
this
behalf of the General
old
Assembly,
man.
I have the honor to welcome His Excellency Joseph R. Biden, Jr., President of the United States of America.
He takes the post and he goes,
I
I
invite him to
suggest
address
we
the
bomb
assembly."
Belgrade.
Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General, my fellow leaders. About a week ago, I stood on the other side of the world, in Vietnam, on soil once bloody with war. And I met a
He's
small
quite
group of
able
veterans,
actually,
Americans and
for a man of his
Vietnamese,
age.
who witnessed-
He's
and
quite
I
impressive.
watched the exchange of personal artifacts from that war, identification cards and a diary. It was deeply moving to see the reaction of the Vietnamese and American soldiers. Culmination of 50 years of hard work on both sides to address the painful legacies of war and to choose to work together toward peace and a better future.
I like the
Nothing
little
about that
painting.
journey
That's cute.
was inevitable.
I like
For
the little
decades,
painting.
It would have been unthinkable for an American president to stand in Hanoi alongside a Vietnamese leader and announce a mutual commitment to the highest level of country's partnership. But it's a powerful reminder that our history need not dictate our future. With the concerted leadership and careful effort, adversaries can become partners. Overwhelming challenges can be resolved, and deep wounds can heal. So let us never forget that. When we choose to
There's a-
stand
I
together
think
and
President
recognize
of
the
the
common hopes that bind all humanity,
Assembly?
we hold our hands, the power in that power to bend that arc of
Hey,
history.
yo, Eugene. No
My
problem,
fellow
no
leaders,
problem, my dude. It's
we
the only
gather
normal
once more at
position.
an inflection point in world history. With the eyes of the world upon all of you, all of us. As President of the United States, I understand the duty my country has to lead in this critical moment.
Give us more
Work
weapons
with countries
then.
in every region, linking them in common cause. To join together with partners
I
to share a
understand.
common vision of the
I
future of
understand
the
our
world,
responsibility.
where our children
Where's the
do not go
F-16s,
hungry,
bitch?
and everyone has access to quality health care. Where workers are empowered and our environment is protected. Where entrepreneurs and innovators everywhere can access opportunity everywhere. Where conflicts are resolved peacefully and countries can chart their own course. The United States seeks a more secure,
Okay.
more prosperous, more equitable world for all people, because we know our future is bound to yours. Let me repeat
How
that
many
again.
people are
We
tired
know
of the war? Man,
our
it's...
future is bound
I think
to
it's the
yours.
Western.
And no nation
I bitch about
can meet the
Westerners quite
challenges of
often.
today
But I think
alone.
it's the fact they don't know what a war is.
The generations that
I think they
preceded us-
kinda
preceded us organized as
See
part of
it
the United
mostly
Nations,
in entertainment shit.
international financial institutions,
So
and
they think
multilateral
it's
and regional bodies
ended
to help take on.
quite
the
more
challenges of their
quickly
time.
than what it is in real
It
life.
isn't always perfect. It wasn't always perfect.
And I think because of
But
this,
working
first off,
together,
it's easy to push
the
the
world
idea
made
of
some
like,
remarkable
oh, there's a
and
threat of a
undeniable
forever
progress
war.
to improve the lives of all
It's
people.
easy to push it onto the Westerners
avoided
because for them this is already
Renewal of
forever.
global conflict
If you ask them, a
will
war
lift
ends
more
in a
than
week.
1 billion people. 1
but
billion
also
people
it's
out of
just-
extreme poverty.
It's
We
their
together
cartoonish
expanded
little
access to
understanding of what's
education
going on.
for millions of children. We saved tens of millions of lives would have otherwise been lost to
But I
preventable
think
and treatable
actually,
diseases
I don't know
like
if it's just
measles,
like my part of the
malaria,
internet.
tuberculosis,
I think people are doing a
HIV,
good
AIDS
job
infections, and death
with
plummeted.
keeping
In
the
no
war
small part because of PEPFAR's
constant
work
in
more than
conversation,
55
just
countries,
constantly
saving
at
more
all
than
times.
25
Like I just went to Twitter before the stream.
It's a profound testament
NAFO collected
to what we
more
can
than
achieve when we act
$1,000
We take on tough
before the
challenges.
Toonie Tuesday even
And an
started.
admonition for all of us to urgently
More
accelerate
than
our progress
$1,000.
so that no one's left behind because
They
too many
do
people
like
are being left
a little
behind.
fundraiser every Tuesday.
institutions
The
we
idea
built
is you get like,
together
I think it's
at the end
$2,
of the
and then
Second
someone
World
always
War
matches it, and it's a
on
fun
an
little
enduring
thing.
bedrock of our
1,000.
progress.
Before it
United
even
States is
started,
committed to
Yuri
sustaining them.
posted just
And this
a few
year,
hours ago
we're proud to
that he's
rejoin
reaching the end
UNESCO.
stage of his
We
fundraiser
also
too.
recognize
We are
that to
constantly
meet the new
seeing
challenges
money collected. We are
decades-old
constantly seeing
institutions and approaches,
stuff shipped to the
they must
front.
be updated.
We're seeing people
keep
post
peace
about every single
with the
situation.
world.
We're seeing people still do
We
interviews.
have to bring in more leadership and capability
I think
that exists
I think
everywhere,
great work is being done
especially from regions
to
that have
keep
not
this
always
in
been fully
conversation
included.
and to keep the
We have to
support
grapple with the
ongoing.
challenges that are more connected and more complex. We have to make sure we're delivering for people everywhere, not just somewhere, everywhere. Simply put, the 21st century results are badly needed. We need it to move us along. That starts with the United Nations, starts right here in this room. In my address to this body last year, I announced the United States will support expanding
You are?
the Security Council.
At the beginning of the war, there was much
Increasing the
more
number of
support. Oh
permanent
shit!
and
I'm sorry to
non-permanent
hear
members.
that. I'm sorry to hear
The
that.
United States has undertaken serious consultation with many member states. We'll continue to
How's
do our
Germany
part
doing,
to
by the
push
way?
more reform efforts forward,
On this issue, how's
for points of
in
common
your
ground.
experience, how's Germany doing?
to make progress.
A bunch of
in
my
the year
family
ahead.
members work in
We need to be
Hungary
able to
and
break the
Germany.
gridlock that too
And it's
often
interesting.
stymies progress.
Like my brother got
blocks
softly
consensus
into Russian
in the
propaganda,
We
and
need
then
more
he got
voices,
pulled out.
more perspectives at the table.
But he got softly into
United
that
Nations
shit
must
before he
continue to
started
preserve peace,
thinking.
prevent
Yeah,
conflict, and alleviate human
I
suffering.
try to listen to
And
him
we
and then
embrace
also to
nations
think about
stepping up to
the
lead
chat.
in new ways and to seek new breakthroughs on hard issues. For example,
Because
on
he
Haiti,
fell for the whole thing of
Caribbean
hating
community is
on
facilitating
the
a dialogue among nations
Greens
society.
in Germany, and then because
I
he was
think
hating on the Greens,
President Ruto
I think he just kind of
Kenya's-
started
I
hating
thank
on
him for
whatever
his
the
willingness
government supports,
serve as the lead
which was
nation
aid to
of a
Ukraine at some
UN-backed
point.
security support mission. I call on the Security Council to authorize
COVID
this
talk?
mission now.
I
The
had
people of Haiti cannot wait much longer.
heard today
The United
conversation
States is
on
working across the
radio
board to make global
about
institutions
a new
more
round of
responsive
vaccinations with some
more
updated
effective,
version
and more
of the
inclusive.
vaccine
For
starting
example,
to fight
we're
against
taking
Kraken.
significant steps to reform and scale up the World Bank.
I haven't seen too much panic
Expanding
over
its
it overall.
financing to
I'm
low
quite
and middle-income countries
chill
so it
about
can help
COVID
boost
right now.
progress
I'm quite
toward meeting
relaxed.
the sustainable development goals and better address interconnected challenges like climate change and fragility. Under the new president of the World Bank,
When
change
front line
is
gets
already
frozen,
taking
the
root.
interest goes down. Yeah, when
Last
lines on the
month,
map
I
don't
asked the
move,
United
I've
States
noticed that
Congress
problem.
for additional funds to
I
expand
talked
World
to
Bank
someone
financing
a
by
few
$25
months ago, I
billion.
think it was.
And the G20, we rallied the major economies of the world to mobilize even more funding.
About the situation in Ukraine, and they
Collectively,
made a very
we can deliver a transformational
dumbass
boost
point,
to World Bank lending.
which was that there's a
Because
ceasefire.
the multilateral development banks
They
are among
claim
the
there's a
best tools we
ceasefire in
have
Ukraine, and
for
I was like, no, there's no
modern
ceasefire.
mobilizing
The fighting is
transparent,
ongoing.
high-quality investment in
And they were
developing
like, no,
countries.
there is
Reforming
a
these
ceasefire
institutions
because no one
can
took
be a
any
game
new
changer.
land in a while.
Similarly,
So if no one took any new
we
land,
propose
that's what a
making sure
ceasefire
developing
is.
countries have a
And it
strong
isn't.
voice and representation
Like at the time, we were
at the
still getting a
International
bunch of
Monetary Fund.
reports about
We're gonna continue our
the
efforts to reform
casualties
the
on the
World
front
Trade
line. We were still
Organization,
getting reports of groups
preserve
attempting a
competition,
breakthrough and then
openness,
failing.
transparency,
There was
rule
no
of law,
ceasefire,
while
but
at the
people just
same
didn't see
time
lines moving
equipping
on
it
a
to
map,
better tackle
and they
modern-day
assumed that a
imperatives
ceasefire was in
like
effect.
driving the clean energy transition,
So I
protecting
see.
workers,
I
promoting
see that they would
inclusive
stop
and
being interested
sustainable
when the
growth.
front line gets frozen because they
This
don't have
month,
little colorful things to
We
follow.
strengthened the
And if there's
G20
no little
as
colorful
a
things to
vital
follow,
forum, welcoming
you know,
the
what's the
African
point of
Union
a
as
Westerner being
permanent member.
around? Got bored of this man. I want to listen to my man Zelensky.
Excellency Recep Tayyip Erdogan, President of the Republic of Turkey, and to invite him to address the Assembly.
What you gonna say, bitch?
Sayın Başkan,
Distinguished President,
kıymetli devlet ve hükümet başkanları,
distinguished heads of states and
Sayın
governments,
Genel Sekreter,
distinguished
değerli
Secretary
delegeler,
General,
sizleri şahsım,
valuable
ülkem
delegates, I
ve
would like to
milletim
salute you
adına
all with
en
my
kalbi
most heartfelt
duygularımla
emotions on behalf of
Yeah,
the
Lavrov
nation,
is there.
on behalf of the
Selamlıyorum.
Turkish nation.
At least it was reported he's gonna be there.
Congratulate Genel Kurul Başkanlığı'nı
who
başarılı bir
successfully
şekilde
completed his
tamamlayan
term as
Sayın
President of the
Croatia'yı
77th
tebrik
General
ediyor.
Assembly of the
Bu
United
görevi
Nations.
devralan
Oh yeah, that's the
And
Mr.
Sayın
President Biden
Francis
was.
says to Mr.
başarılar
Francis, who
diliyorum.
is taking over his duty.
Güven ve dayanışma
Talking to him.
içerikli bir temayla
that
toplanan
The
78.
78th General Assembly
Genel
convened with
Kurulun
a team
tüm
of
insanlık
trust and
için hayırlara
solidarity
vesile
will
olmasını
be a blessing for
temenni
the
ediyorum.
entire human race.
Dünyamızın
It was like an
geleceği
interesting TV
konusunda
series. Now nobody is interested
burada
anymore.
yaptığımız değerlendirmeler
For 2 weeks of
ve
collection, only
kıyaslar
close colleagues have donated. Oh
Compared to the
shit.
assessments
Maalesef
we had carried out
mümkün
over
değil.
this podium here last year.
Karşımızdaki fotoğraf
Man, that sucks.
küresel ölçekte
That
giderek
that
daha
that
fazla
fucking sucks. I'm so sorry to hear that.
And
daha
dangerous
tehlikeli
challenges
sınamalarla
on a
karşı
global
karşıya
scale.
olduğumuzu gösteriyor. Kendi ülkemin
There are
I wonder how
güneyinde,
strong of like a
kuzeyinde,
support this community Germany has. It should be okay, right?
tensions to the south,
It's kind of there's like 5 Croatians I was able to find
ve sosyal gerilim
who are strong on social media about this.
küresel ekonomik sorunlarla
these growing
birleşerek
challenges
And we're actually able to like
bu
crop each other's
sınamalarla
posts up to reach more people and everything. And it's kind of,
zorlaşıyor.
it feels like you're doing something on a tiny countrywide scale, right?
in addition to the
Yol
humanitarian
açtığı
tragedy,
insani
the war on
The
trajediye
gym is goddamn huge compared to us.
ekonomiden güvenliğe,
serious problems in all
enerjiden
areas,
gıda
Lavrov
güvenliğine,
vs. Zelensky, I would be personally offended
energy
sorunlar
to food
ortaya
supply
if at any point
Suriye ile Kuzey Afrika
Zelensky has to share
bölgesinde
the platform. Like,
hızla
personally offended. I'm not even joking.
fragile international security
onarılamaz zararlar veriyor.
He should not be.
areas of operation
He,
of
I wouldn't even expect him to listen.
ambitions of global
Like, what's Lavrov gonna say? He's gonna eat shit there on the stage, and that's it.
Sosyoekonomik şartlardan da
taking advantage
istifadeyle
of technological
Hey,
adeta bir
developments
salgın
and
gibi
deteriorating
geniş coğrafyalara
socio-economic
yaygınlaşıyor.
conditions everywhere.
Yabancı
The
karşıtlığı,
signs of xenophobia,
ırkçılık ve
racism,
İslam
and
düşmanlığının
Islamophobia
yeni
Okay.
bir krize
turning into
dönüşme
new
emareleri
crises have
son
reached
bir
alarming
yıldır
levels
endişe
in
verici
the last
boyutlara
1 year.
ulaştı.
Okay.
Dünyanın
No
hangi
matter which
köşesinde
corner of the
yaşarsak
world
yaşayalım,
we shall live in,
iklim değişikliği
climate change
ve
and
buna bağlı doğal
related
afetler
natural disasters
artık
have become a
günlük
reality
hayatımızın
in our daily
bir
lives,
gerçeği haline
Okay.
geldi.
of our daily lives.
Türkiye
On the
6
morning
Şubat
of February
2023
the 6th,
sabahı
2023,
gerek büyüklüğü,
Türkiye
gerek
faced,
etkilediği
in the
alan
words of the
itibariyle
Secretary General,
Sayın Genel
quote,
Sekreterin
one of the biggest
ifadesiyle
natural disasters of
yüzyılın
the century,
en büyük
Okay.
doğal
in terms of its
afetlerinden
magnitude
biriyle
and the
karşı
area
karşıya kaldı.
it affected.
Birleşmiş Milletler dahil uluslararası
It's
toplumun
impossible for us to
yardım
forget the
çağrımıza
sincerity of the international
ivedilikle verdiği
community,
cevabın
including that of the
samimiyetini,
United Nations, in
fedakarca
responding
sergilenen
urgently to
çabaları
our
ve
appeal for
ülkemize
help.
sağlanan
The help,
cömert
the
desteği
self-sacrificing
unutmamız
efforts, and the
mümkün değil.
generous support provided to our country.
50 binden fazla insanını
The
kaybetti.
friendship shown to our country
850
on
bin
this very
yapının
dark day,
kullanılamaz
when
hale
more than
geldiği,
50,000 people have
milyonlarca
lost their
insanı
lives
barındıran
and
şehirlerin adeta
850,000
yerle yeksan
buildings were
olduğu
destroyed.
kara
Sausages.
gününde
Cities sheltering
ülkemize
millions of
gösterilen
people
dostluk
Do you play
virtually
Deep Rock
bizler için
Galactic?
ground
önemli
was an
bir
important
teselli
They're doing an
kaynağı.
Oktoberfest
Dünyanın
week,
yüzü aşkın ülkesinde
and there's a special beer you
yardım
get for
çağrımıza
Oktoberfest,
destek veren tüm dostlarımıza
and it's
friends
you
from
have a
all
beer.
across the globe,
ve
from
milletim adına
100
You hold it in your
teşekkür ediyorum.
I would like to thank
keg.
you sincerely.
There's a huge beer there, and there's a sausage.
Şehirlerimizi bir an önce
And the way they drink
ayağa
it is they
kaldırmak
take the sausage, they dip it into the beer, and then they chomp.
için şekilde
underway in an
sürdürüyor.
uninterrupted fashion in order to
Birkaç gün önce de
reconstruct
Makes me
our
want to try it, but I feel like it would be disgusting.
bağlarımızın bulunduğu
And a
Libya,
few days ago,
fırtına
Libya,
ve selin
with
yol
which we have
açtığı
strong
ağır
historical ties,
yıkımlara
was
ve
subjected to heavy
can
destruction
kayıplarına
and significant
maruz
loss of
kaldı.
life caused by storms
Felaketin
and
ardından
floods.
Türkiye olarak
Following the
10.000'i
disaster,
aşkın
Turkey
By the way,
insanın
someone asked about beer
hayatını
tasting. I
kaybetti.
actually did plan to do a beer tasting on stream, but then I drank it. I bought this one for the stream specifically, and I drank it.
unaccounted for.
Harekete geçti.
I have failed.
Within the first phase, we've sent
Needs to
3
buy like
vessels
more of them.
and 3 planes. along
Hey,
with
I don't know if
567
there's a list of who speaks next.
relief personnel, hundreds of vehicles, and thousands of tons of food, shelter, and sanitary supplies.
Sivil toplum
Our
kuruluşlarımız da
non-governmental
kendi
organizations
imkanlarıyla
are also
bölgedeki
participating in the
çalışmalara
relief
katılıyor.
efforts in that region with
Dünyanın
their own
neresinde bir mağdur,
means and their
mazlum
capabilities.
varsa yanında
As
yer
a
No,
alan
this
bir
is
ülke
that
olarak
stands by the side
not
of
related.
victimized and oppressed people,
yalnız
wherever
bırakmadık,
they might be in the world,
bırakmayacağız.
we haven't
Avtay said Avtay, yeah, few others at the fair thing, and then I was like, I'm gonna keep one for the stream.
hopefully will be mobilized in order
Yeah,
to
trying.
extend a helping hand
Şiddetli bir
to
depremle
Libya.
sarsılan Faslı
And I
kardeşlerimize
would
de
like to
geçmiş olsun dileklerimi
wish an
buradan
expeditious recovery to our
iletiyorum.
Moroccan brothers and sisters
Kıymetli delegeler,
who were hit
genel
by
kurulun
a very
bu
strong
yılki
earthquake,
temasının
just like
Okay.
we had
Türkiye'nin
recently
hedefleriyle
experienced.
birebir örtüştüğünü
Distinguished
görmekten
delegates, we are
Libyan
pleased to see
delegate
that
writing
this
down.
year's theme of the General
Cumhuriyetimizin
Assembly
100.
is in
yılında
line with
hayata
Turkey's
geçirmeye
goals,
başladığımız
because our vision
Türkiye
of the
100 yılı vizyonumuz
Turkey's
bu
century,
örtüşmenin
which we
en
started to
somut
realize
ifadesidir.
in the 100th anniversary of our republic,
Küresel
is the most concrete
adaletsizlikleri
expression
ortadan
of this
kaldıran,
overlapping vision.
ekonomik
Chatterer from the
eşitsizlikleri
Hellraiser gang.
Eliminates global
barış,
injustices,
güvenlik,
addressing economic
istikrar
inequalities
ve
and
refah
producing
üreten,
peace, security,
etkili,
stability, and
kapsayıcı
prosperity.
Okay. Okay,
insanlığı
speed so far.
kucaklayıcı,
Inclusive
velhasıl
that
tüm
embraces
insanlığın
humanity.
hayrına
In
bir
short,
uluslararası
it's a
sistem
Caricature. I just
It's
wanted to say that they are probably drawing him like
international system
daha çok
him with like a
for the
dick on his
benefit
face or
of
something.
entire
Genel
humanity.
Sekreter
And
Sayın
this vision is
Guterres'in
finding more
geçtiğimiz
and
günlerde
more
yaptığı
resonance.
İkinci
We
Dünya
agree with
Savaşı
the distinguished
sonrası
Secretary
kurulan
General Mr.
kurumların
Guterres' recent
bugünün
observation,
dünyasını
whereby he
yansıtmadığı
stated that the
tespitine
institutions
biz de
established
katılıyoruz.
after the Second World War no
Bu
longer
tespit bizim
reflect today's
dünya
world.
beşten büyüktür
Okay.
çağrımızı
Expresses our call
ifade
for
ediyor.
the world is bigger than
Güvenlik Konseyi
five.
artık dünya
The
güvenliğinin
Security Council has
teminatı
ceased to be
olmaktan
the
çıkmış,
guarantor of world
5
security
ülkenin
and has become a
siyasi
battleground for the
stratejilerinin
political strategies
çarpışma
of
alanı
only
haline
5 countries.
gelmiştir. Kıbrıs'ta yaşanan son
We
hadiseleri
consider the recent
içi
events
boşalmış,
taking place in
adalet
Cyprus
ve
as a
güven
manifestation
telkin
of this
etmeyen
hollowed out
kurumsal yapının bir
institutional
tezahürü
structure
olarak
that doesn't inspire
değerlendiriyor.
justice and trust anymore.
Okay.
Barış ve istikrarın
As a
güçlendirilmesine
country that
yönelik
has pioneered numerous
sayısız
initiatives to strengthen
inisiyatife
peace and
öncülük etmiş
stability,
bir ülke olarak
we
Sayın
attach
Even the
great
interpreter is like
to Mr.
stability.
Guterres' call
gündem
for a new
oluşturulması
agenda
çağrısına
for peace.
önem veriyoruz. Bu anlayışla
With this understanding,
Rusya-Ukrayna
since the
savaşının
beginning of the
Oh, he's
Russian
still-
Ukrainian war, we have been
Savaşın
endeavoring to
kazananı,
keep both our
barışın
Russian and
kaybedeni
Ukrainian
olmaz
friends
teziyle
around the table
hem
with
Oof.
the thesis that
hem
war
Ukraynalı
will have no
dostlarımızı
winners and
masada
peace will
tutmaya
have no
gayret
Oof.
losers.
savaşın
Oh, that was bad.
bağımsızlığı
We will
ve
step up
toprak
our
bütünlüğü
Oh, look at the
efforts
Russian
around the
daring
world
to be
through
that.
diplomacy and dialogue on
sona
the basis of
erdirilmesine
Ukraine's
yönelik
independence
çabalarımızı
and territorial
artırarak
integrity.
sürdüreceğiz. Birleşmiş Milletler'le
With the
birlikte
Black Sea Initiative, which we
başlattığımız
have
Karadeniz
launched together with the
girişimiyle
United
Okay.
Nations,
dünya
we have
piyasalarına
prevented the threat of a
33
global
milyon
hunger
ton
crisis by ensuring
tahıl
the
ürünü
delivery
sevk
of
edilmesini
33
sağlayarak
million tons of
küresel
grain
açlık krizi
through the
tehlikesinin
Black Sea
önüne
to
geçti.
the
Okay.
global markets.
Şahsi gayretlerimiz neticesinde
Why did you have to
3 kez
do
However, the
this?
failure to implement this
Ancak
agreement in all its
girişimin
elements has left the world
17
facing
Temmuz
a
itibariyle
new crisis.
Failure because of what?
This initiative had been
Dünyayı yeni bir
extended
krizle
3 times,
yüz yüze
in
bıraktı.
part with my efforts.
Küresel açlık tehlikesiyle karşı karşıya bulunan coğrafyalara uzanan bu insani
This
köprünün
humanitarian
şekilde
bridge that
idamesi için
extends to
temaslarımız
the
sürüyor.
countries that are in
Öncelikle
dire need will
1
hopefully
milyon
benefit from our
tahılın
arrangements
Afrika
and from
ülkelerine
our
sevkini öngören
negotiations.
planı
Yeah,
We
he's like,
have
I'm so good.
a new plan whereby
I thought the
$1
Russia-Ukraine
billion
comment was
will
really
be
bad.
released to the countries in dire need around
I
the
can't
world.
take him seriously after that.
Our aim is to make the greatest
I
possible
can't.
contribution to the world
Mümkün
peace
olan en
and
büyük
prosperity
katkıları sunmak.
in the face of the conflicts
The whole thing was like, we want both of these sides at the table, and we want to remind them there's no victory in a war.
And it's worsening the living conditions of everyone in the region.
Like
regardless of their origin and
imagine
their faith.
fucking telling a country victim of an invasion, which is just trying to defend itself, that like, oh, there's no victories in the war. There's no way for you to win.
Economic well-being.
You're fighting for no reason. Just let Russia do whatever it wants to you. Just let them, you know, put all your people in mass graves. There's no victory in the war anyways. Such a cruel fucking point.
And a sustainable solution which meets the legitimate expectations of the people.
Still butthurt about the fact he had to let Swedes into NATO? Man.
The devastating impact of the affected 14
I kind of hope he is.
was also
Was Croatia under long-term Ottoman rule? We were.
especially in northwestern Syria.
Not sure if you would consider it long-term. But yeah, we were under the Ottoman rule. We did the whole thing with kebabnik. We did the whole thing with our women doing tattoos, so they wouldn't be taken prisoner by Turkish women. They were doing a thing here, Ottomans, with it's a big part of our culture, with kidnapping the sons of a family and then forcing these sons to go and fight against their own families later when they grow up into soldiers. But also Croatia has partially been under Ottoman rule. Bosnia has been under Ottoman rule though, fully. And because Bosnia has been under the Ottoman rule, Bosnia has taken a large part of the Ottoman culture, which is a part of why the other Balkan nations were discriminating against it, and also why Serbs attempted a genocide of Bosnian people during 1990s. They saw them as traitors of Slavs, because Serbia had been fighting against Ottomans, but Bosnia hasn't really been fighting. Bosnia adopted a lot of their culture.
Where it is no longer unbearable for the people. As a matter of fact,
He made no such promise? Wait, what?
Have started to emerge recently.
So what, he did nothing?
Another neighbor is also making sincere efforts to overcome the internal and
Did he do
external
nothing? He had to
challenges
do
it
something.
faces. We act with an understanding that strengthens Iraq's political unity, territorial
But I know he was
integrity,
bitching.
and
Wasn't it just today?
and
He said Sweden is not doing enough.
we do not discriminate between the constituent elements of the country.
Oh, he did.
Hayata geçireceğimiz kalkınma yolu projesiyle
As the countries of the region, the path to development will be established so that the regional integration will be ensured. The games of those who cling to the Daesh excuse every time they're in trouble in the region have now been all but exposed. As the leader of a country that has actually fought the biggest battle against Daesh, inflicted the biggest losses on this organization, and knows the realities in front of and behind the problem, I want to speak very clearly and frankly. We are sick and tired of the hypocrisy of those who use Daesh and similar organizations as a front to their own political and economic interests in the Middle East, North Africa, and Sahel, but especially in Syria and Iraq. We're tired. The threat in these regions is not only confined to Daesh. The real threat is the terrorist organizations, paramilitary groups, mercenaries, and local elements that are used and that are being nurtured as tools of proxy wars. And whoever pays the highest price will use these.
His voice is dying. The language is beautiful, though.
Despite this reality,
My man glitched.
that continue to work with terrorist
I find the language really, really beautiful.
and economic interests have no right to complain about terrorism and its problems as an extension. In such a world, no one is safe. whether they live right next to a conflict zone or far away on the land surrounded by oceans. Nobody can be safe. That's why we say that under the auspices of the United Nations, we must rapidly restructure the institutions charged with ensuring the security, peace, and prosperity of the world. We must build a global governance architecture that is capable of representing all origins, beliefs,
The current United Nations is an organization where the US government twists the hands of the nations of the world. Ethiopian freedom?
We say once again, with all of our
Dumbass.
the world is
Hey, yeah, Gustavo. We are trying to see what Zelensky is going to say at the UN General Assembly. I'm really interested in what he is going to share. So I kind of hoped he would be the one speaking now, but it's not him.
Sorun alanlarına ilişkin ülkemin yaklaşımlarını sizlerle
I don't know if I care. Erdogan, give my man Zelensky a chance to speak. I've saved fun stuff to talk about on European Union though, so I'm also, by the way, I'm planning to raid MEP today. He's doing a stream in English and is going to be looking into several important points of European Union conversations, one of them being the arrival of immigrants in Italy. Meloni has had very strong opinions on it recently, so it's going to be very interesting to see how the conversation moves. Trying to stay sane, I'm sorry. Like a part of me doesn't really care about his speech anymore. It was interesting for a while, but then he went. Now it's like he's doing a presidential campaign. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how much I care about this point, my dude. I don't know how much I care. Can I show you Meloni? I'm gonna show you Meloni while he speaks. I'm gonna keep him low on the side so I see if someone else comes to play. But Meloni, let me show you Meloni. Where did I have Meloni? Here?
Valor 1976 demands representation of https://pinic.com/1200x/0c/60.
Fair. Wait, I have to save this one too. To have it for next time. Fair. Nice.
893F5F6C23F47.jpg.
He just keeps on reading it. I love it so much. I love it so much. Wait, let me switch. Let me do a switch. Okay. Nice. Young Meloni pick. She's very young already. What do you mean younger? Who is this? Scott Ritter in my chat? She's like what, 30? It's young. How old is Meloni? I don't know how old she is. 40? 30? 19? What? I thought she was way younger than that. Upa colors. I thought she was way younger than that. This surprises me a lot. But yeah, basically, I don't know how much you know about Lampedusa thing. Let me show you. There's been thousands of immigrants arriving at a little tiny island. Basically, a little tiny island which got flooded by immigrant boats. Now, of course, there's a change of speaker, I think, happening. Of course, we don't really know how to resolve this. Oh no, he's still speaking. People are just getting bored. We don't really know how to resolve this. Italy has had this problem for a while. I think this is though the first time it's having quite a strong problem while Meloni is around. while Meloni is around. So we're going to see what Meloni is going to do about this. We're going to see what her way of solving this is. I'm actually quite interested too, because so far I think Meloni was not put in a position where she had a chance to do something very bad. You know, there's a part of me which wants to trust her leadership, and I think this is going to be a test. And I'm really scared she's going to respond way too aggressively. I hope she's going to find a proper, balanced way to resolve this crisis. I don't know if I see her doing that though, but it's good that she is being tested, and it's good that we are going to see what her policies actually are. Men in their best years. I'm actually okay with it being men in their best years. I'm not too worried about that personally, because I think it makes sense that when a trip is that dangerous, you're going to send the men first. I think it makes sense that they're going to be like the path makers, and then they're going to try to make a living in whichever country they set off to, and then they pull the families there. I think it makes perfect sense. Because, you know, when you look at the news from the trip, for example, when you see how many people just freeze in crossings, when you see how many of them drown at sea, sending women and children on a trip that dangerous and that hard to endure, that would be basically killing off your family. That would be agreeing to kill off your family. So because of that, I see why they would be sending their men first and then hoping for the men to be getting women in. Oh no, doing things legally is another topic. I do, of course, agree we should be having some sort of control on our borders, and I do think there should be a way to deal with people who attempt to cross the borders illegally. Of course, I don't think all forms of control should be abandoned or gotten rid of. I disagree with the specific point about it being younger men, because I've seen lots of people commenting on this when the photos of immigrants were posted. Lots of people were making comments like, oh, look at this, it's all young men, it's all young men. Of course it is. Of course it is. Like, truly, when you see, like I know here, for example, immigrants are trying to cross over the river from Serbia to Croatia. So many of them freeze along crossing. They have shitty little boats that can't survive in the river, and they try to cross anyways during the winter time, and they freeze, or the river just carries them away. Sending women and children on this, that would be just choosing to kill your family. That would be a choice. I see why men are, you know, the ones going first, the ones being brave, the ones going first, and then they are supposed to pull their families to the country. I don't see anything bad about that, genuinely. Now, when it comes to, you know, the legality of the entrance, that is a whole another conversation. Young men don't need protection. There is something quite sad about, I don't know if it sounds too dramatic to say it, but it kind of is, as if they're seen as like, I don't know if I want to say more expendable. I don't know if I want to say that they are more expendable, but it kind of is what it seems like, right? You're like, oh, there's this very, very dangerous trip for people to go, and many of them will die along the trip. Let's send our men. It's kind of sad. I don't know. Do you think all of them are asylum seekers or economic migrants? I think there's a lot of economic migrants. I also don't see anything bad about it. I'm not opposed to economic migrants. I don't think there's anything bad about people being economic migrants. I think the bad part is the fact that they are attempting to enter the country illegally. And I think this is where we need to find a way to protect our borders, but also not not do it in a way that is completely denying entrance to them, right? I think there should be a way for them to enter safely and legally. But yeah, I do think lots are economic migrants, and I'm GG with that. Illegal immigration when you just want to be richer. I think it's yeah. I don't even blame them for wanting to be richer. I think a lot of economic migration is not just wanting to be richer. I think for a lot of them it's a chance to have a normal life. I'm coming from the position of basically like my family are economic migrants because they went to Germany because paychecks in Germany are better than paychecks here. You know what I mean? So I come from the position of like, I think we can all understand the drive behind it, especially if you're European and you have relatives who went to work in another European country because of the paycheck and because of the improvements you get when going there. I think you can understand it, and I think presenting it as just wanting to be richer is a lot simpler than what it actually is. Because there's really no chance to build a proper life, and there's really no chance for you to flourish in certain situations. And I don't see anything bad about people wanting to move away from it. Now, of course, again, doing it illegally for me is a problem, but just them doing it, I think it's absolutely okay. Most dangerous woman in Europe? Oh, no. No, not at all. Not at all. Le Pen? Le Pen could be. Le Pen could be. I don't think it's Georgia. Georgia's okay. Fixing your country not an option? Not always. Not on one hand, not always. On the other hand, expecting people to stay in a shitty country and to sacrifice their lives in attempt to make it better, I think this sort of a decision shouldn't be on us to impose on the cost of these people not entering our countries. Does that make sense? I think you shouldn't have a right to say, hey, I don't want these people to enter my country to work here, because I think instead what they should do is sacrifice their lives staying in a shitty country and attempting to build it to a proper system. For a lot of them, they can't really create any sort of big meaningful changes like that. Plus, for us, it's a good thing that they're coming here to work. It's not like they're doing anything bad by coming here to work. If we're talking, again, like I do have problems with illegal immigration, but if it's just about them coming here to work, it's good for us. It's okay for them. I don't see a problem with it. Wanting a better life in European Union is GG. The problem with Russians wanting a better life in the European Union is that Russians, when they leave Russia, they still stay in their imperialist mindset. They don't change that when they come to European Union. They come to European Union and they remain in the Russian mindset. You will very rarely see them moving outside of it. The problem with Russians coming to European Union is that they come to our countries and they stage pro-Putin riots. And they come to our countries and they paint around the Wagner murals. And they come to our countries and they still try to talk badly about Ukraine and they try to stop aid to Ukraine. The problem with that is that they never move outside of what made their country shitty. Of course, when it comes to economic migrants, if we come from the assumption of them coming to Europe and then still staying in whatever made their country shitty, I would be against that. I would be against that. But it's just not really what I've seen happen, to be honest. I don't know if I would agree on non-European immigrants, because my father and brother both worked with non-Europeans, they were GG. They were GG. Like most, what you will see is like my father, for example. My father is an interesting man. But he talks about how they got new workers in the firm and they are from Africa. He doesn't even know which fucking country. He knows they're from Africa. And he talked about how annoying they were for a while. But then like they got used to how Germans behave. Like, for example, he talks about them talking very loudly on their phones during public transport time. And then during this time, they were like very, very annoying to everyone around. And all of the Germans, they were like, the fuck is this dude doing? So it took them a little while to learn. But apart from that, it's like they're just normal. They're just normal. It's not like they come around and they still keep on spreading their little... I don't even know what sort of imperialist ideas they would be able to be having. Or justifying the genocide that their countries attempted or whatever the fuck. It's not really the experience I've had with any of them. I could say that, yeah, when you say Islamists still want to live in their bubble, I could agree that European countries don't do a good enough job of assimilating immigrants. I think this is on our countries to solve. I think a lot of them do a very, very bad job when it comes to this. It's, think of Sweden in 1990s. When Balkan refugees came to Sweden as immigrants, of course, at the time, and Sweden didn't care about them at all. So what Sweden did is Sweden pushed them into poor, underdeveloped areas of the country. And what happened there is that Balkan immigrants were met with Swedish biker gangs. And we created the most extensive underground crime scene in Sweden, the effects of which are still seen today. When you talk about crime rate in Sweden, in big part you're talking about the legacy of Balkan people. And it's because they couldn't give a shit. They took all of them and just placed them in these very poor areas, where there was already a lack of employment, there was already a lack of proper education being available, there already was crime, and then you just chunk in more and more and more refugees into it. They never interact with anyone outside of these societies. Of course you're going to see problems happening throughout a few years, and they saw problems happening, they're still seeing them happening. So I think countries should do a better job. Now when it comes to my father and brother, my brother used to be working in mobile phone fixing when he came into Germany, and then he has been upgrading. I know he went to like lift repairs, I know he went to truck repairs, car repairs. Right now he's working some fancy ass job. I know it's in a cosmetics firm and he's working with the machinery there. Oh no, my dad works on what's the English for that? There's a word for that. There's a word for that. Well, when you keep the roads proper, like you trim the trees and you plant the flowers and stuff like that, depending on what is needed. Stuff like that is what he is doing. Easy job. Lots of foreigners working there, lots of Balkan people, lots of... And landscaping, thank you, it's landscaping. Part of it is landscaping. It's a big firm in Germany and they mostly work with businesses in the little town thing where they're at. So there's like, I know there's a few colleges, there's a few schools, they go to pick up the trash, they go to landscape, they go to keep the town looking presentable, basically, right? I know he has a lot of foreigners in the job, and I just know that they're okay. A lot of non-European Union foreigners, lots of European Union foreigners too. They change the positions rather often. I think he is the person who has been in the firm for the longest, he and one Frenchie. But they're okay. They're like, okay. When it comes to my brother, the first job he worked was a similar thing where he had a lot of foreigners. right now. I don't even know who he works with, to be honest. I know there was one Russian dude who had to go back to Russia for mobilization. But that's as much as I know. Germany, still doing to some extent. Germany pushed primarily Turkish and immigrants from the Middle East and Eastern Europe into their zones. Yeah. So that's, parallel societies is a proper word. Yeah. They call them similarly in Sweden. Yeah. But it's like you create a society like that and you're creating problems. Of course, people are not going to assimilate. It's a very similar thing to what Croatia has been doing with Roma people. There's a whole UN report on this, by the way. We mentioned it for a second. It's a very similar thing to what we have been doing. All the time we were like, oh yeah, you're in Croatia? We're just gonna chunk you here, into this place where you already chunk people like you. Oh, you don't want to assimilate into Croatian society? How evil of you. How evil and how selfish of you. You don't want to assimilate in a society that we basically don't even allow you to experience. So overall, I think it should be the responsibility of our states to deal with this better. Not the case with Eastern European immigrants, but still problematic with Muslim immigrants. Yeah, I genuinely do think a big problem of that is the fact that we push them into these societies. I think we shouldn't be doing that at all. I think we should be a lot smarter. I don't care if they don't want to assimilate as long as they're legal. Oh, I kinda do. But also, I think assimilation is something that just happens naturally. You know, like, it's not, when it comes to my father's case, it's not like these people wanted to assimilate. You just do. When my parents went to Germany in 1990s, when the war was happening here, they got used to the culture, you know? I don't think it's about whether you want to do it or not. I think you just will. I think if you are surrounded by people for some time, you just will. It's like very similar to conversations about Russians in Baltic states, right? They have built their own societies, and because they have built their own societies, they don't speak the local languages, and they don't participate in the local culture, right? They couldn't care less about it. But when I look at what my parents have been doing in Germany, it's not like they wanted to assimilate. They just did. It's not like they wanted to learn German. They never went, you know, to sit back and to learn German, to read about German grammar, whatever. They never did that. But they still learned German just from existing near Germans. They still picked up on the culture just by being surrounded by it. So I don't know, I feel like if we get rid of the parallel societies that we have created for these people, I think we're all going to have much easier time. Not just accepting immigrants, but also just creating a better society for all of us. 50-year-old person. Yeah, could see that. I mean, I guess it also like maybe depends on what you think, how we define assimilation, right? I guess a part would depend on that. Because they don't think under any means, of course. I don't think that they should be abandoning larger parts of what makes them their nation. You're required to pass German to do anything in Germany? Fun fact! Fun fact! There's not Croatian, Balkan societies in Germany right now. You don't need to speak a word of German. Not a word. I've got relatives who have worked in Germany for a few years. Can't speak a word of German. They work in Balkan firms, and they live surrounded by Balkan people. Never spoken a word of German. Pretty vague to what degree? Yeah, that too. Because I think usually we take it as people abandoning their extremism, which already by itself speaks to a harmful stereotype we have of immigrants if you believe all of them are extremists and they need to assimilate to stop being extremists, right? Russians came to the Baltics as conquerors, as occupants. And it's the master race of USSR, of course, they want to assimilate. Yeah, it speaks to an issue that, was previously mentioned in chat, over how when Russians come to our countries, they refuse to coexist. They do pro-Putin marches. They draw Wagner symbols all around. They refuse to consider Western values as their own. Of course, people are being against them coming around. But also then on a political basis, I think it's perfectly valid to say you don't want Russians coming into Europe because you don't want the imperialist state to think for a second it is accepted. And there must be Russians who will not be allowed into our lands because of it, then let it be so. And I think that by itself is completely okay. Even if you are personally not against Russians coming to our countries, I personally am because of the Serbia situation. I'm quite concerned about the influx. I'm quite concerned about the fact that they've tried to get Serbs to go and fight in Wagner, and some Serbs already have. I'm quite concerned about shit that they have been doing. But even if you're not, it's perfectly fine to say yes. The difference is that Russia is currently waging a war against what it calls the West itself. And it's perfectly fine to let Russians know that there is no place for them in the West. Easy to be a patriot of Russia outside of Russia? That too. Definitely easier than being anything inside of Russia. Because you're gonna get fucked up. Hey, by the way, I haven't played you the video. But yeah, you understand the immigration thing, right? Lots of immigrants came to a small Italian island, and we're kind of waiting to see how European Union leaders will respond. Yeah, they have ally countries. They can go that too.
They've been visiting port facilities.
Go to Kazakhstan. Good luck.
Reception center. Italy has asked Brussels for help in dealing with thousands of sudden.
Talking about Kazakhstan, there's big news about it. I save them, but I don't know where. Who the hell knows? Romania, by the way. Romania is the best ally of oh, why do I have these things saved and then not the things that I wanted to have saved? Oh no, here it is. Kazakhstan is releasing files of Kazakhstan residents who were victims of political repression during the Stalin era. Big thing. 2.4 million individual files will be made public. Big thing, my man. Huge fucking thing, especially right now, especially considering the current political situation. Huge piece of news. And yeah, especially as Russia is beating the drum of good old Stalin days. Very strong. Very, very, very strong move. So yeah, I guess they may not even be able to go to Kazakhstan because, I'm not quite sure they're going to be welcomed there.
Migrant arrivals. Residents have expressed frustration with plans to put up a tent city to house the migrants.
It's like Croatians living outside of Croatia.
To other parts of Italy. Most are sleeping out
like
in
Bosnians
the
in Croatia.
Over 8,000 people have
They're always the
arrived
most
on the
nationalistic.
island this week, and boats are still landing.
Too many people, too little space. These men are desperate to get off of Lampedusa. They're trying to board a bus to a ferry to take them to Sicily or beyond. Conditions in the so-called migrant reception center are becoming dire. Nearly 3,000 people packed here into a space meant for a few hundred.
The situation in the center is not too good because it's too crowded. To get food, you can fight. If you don't fight, you don't have food. Even to take shower is a problem, even cloth problem, because the population is too much.
Over the past week, boats from Libya and Tunisia arrived in record numbers, overwhelming the small island, carrying people from Africa and the Middle East. Close conditions in Lampedusa have led to heightened tensions between different migrant groups.
We have seen in the time that we've been here some scuffles breaking out between the migrants. Of course, for the most part, it's young men, so sitting out in the heat, scuffles breaking out between sub-Saharan African migrants and North African migrants, some tension there. Very difficult conditions, even for the volunteers and the officials who are just trying to maintain order and manage the situation here.
The pressure has also frustrated local officials, who say this shouldn't be their problem alone.
True.
The message that has to get through is that Europe has to wake up, because the European Union has been absent for 20 years. Lampedusans say enough. The Lampedusans have been suffering for 20 years, and we are psychologically destroyed.
The new arrivals want to move on as quickly as they can. Lampedusa is just one step in a long and often dangerous journey in search of a better life.
The Italian Prime Minister said the migration problem was a matter for all of Europe to tackle.
Okay.
If someone here were to think that these global crises that we are tackling and facing could just be solved within Italian borders,
Wait, what is physically
that would be a huge
possible?
mistake. This massive flow of immigrants is something that requires the involvement and responsibility of everyone.
True.
Because it's certainly going to involve the border countries.
Mhm.
But it will affect all other European countries soon. We are all involved in trying to solve this. And the presence of European Commission President von der Leyen here is a sign of awareness in this regard.
So Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni there, and DW's Christine Mundwa joins us live from Lampedusa's migrant.
Oh yeah, but like I remember for Germany specifically, the problem with housing them was that Germany is kind of shit when it comes to their bureaucracy. So what they were doing is, for a while, they were housing them for a specified amount of time until their paperwork was sorted. But then they got lazy on the paperwork. And when they got lazy on the paperwork, they started keeping people for longer and longer and longer. If you remember, there was a whole crisis around this when Russia invaded Ukraine, and Ukrainian refugees traveled all the way to Germany. And then Germany kicked out refugees who already were in arrival centers to make room for Ukrainians. And this was in so many news. It was like, oh, Germany kicking out refugees on the street to make place for Ukrainians. But it's not what happened. They didn't kick them out on the street. They gave them apartments. They were buying them apartments, paying for their apartments. Like in the article itself, the refugee in question shows the bill for the apartment that the German government has paid for. But they kicked out refugees from the arrival centers because they were supposed to stay in the arrival centers for a very short period of time. It's supposed to be arrival. It's supposed to be you come into Germany, you apply to get your paperwork sorted. For a few months at most, you stay in the arrival center. I think it was like 3 or something. And then after this is done, they place you into a more permanent housing. But you were not supposed to stay in the arrival centers. But Germany was lazy with this, and they kept some of them in the arrival center for years. So when they moved them out, of course people were not too happy about being moved out. Like, they made friends with each other in these centers. They got to know each other, they bonded with each other. Their kids were already going to school and everything. And then you just move them out? Of course, they took it rather negatively. They had every right to. But it was a big horrible situation made possible because Germany was lazy at the time. And this is one of those cases where, you know, I feel like our countries are failing. I feel our countries are failing. And because of this, we are seeing some of these issues. I feel we could do a lot better. We have no houses, or should that too? Apartments? Apartments, maybe? Put them back in big boats and ship them back. One of Meloni's ideas is the repatriation thing, which is that when an immigrant applies for getting paperwork to stay in the country, if this doesn't get approved, you ship them back to whichever country they came from. It is one of her ideas. The problem is that you need to sign the repatriation with whichever country people are coming from. You know, you can't just like ship them and chunk them out at the border. Can't just do that. You need to have a whole deal with the country in question. So that's going to be interesting to follow. I do wonder after this, I do wonder how she is going to get more involved. Man who threw a Molotov at the fence of an illegal immigration center. He set the fence on fire, then went and killed himself. Oh, holy shit. Oh, holy shit, that seems bad. That just seems bad. Reminds me of Germany. I read this one piece of news recently in Germany. There was a statistic being shared around about how there's much more crimes in immigration centers in Germany rather than in the areas around them. And the article was, you know, making it sound like immigrants do a lot of crime. And then you actually look at the numbers, and it's that these are crimes committed against immigrants. It's like people go and they set up their tents on fire. People go and attack them. But because the attack was done in the area of the immigrant center, it is counted, of course, as the crime in the area of the immigrant center. And people read it and they just see it as like, oh, immigrants did a crime. Konstantinovka. Hey, I'm still waiting to see what's going on in Konstantinovka, because to see what happened. But I definitely do see a lot of pro-Russians pushing the idea it was a Ukrainian missile. Don't really know how valid I'm seeing the theory. I'm not entirely sure about it. So I'll be waiting mostly. Max? What? Russian army provided Azerbaijan with the coordinates of all the positions and locations of the equipment of the armed forces of Armenia and moved away from the indicated places. Bastards. Bastards. We have a housing shortage? Our regular citizens can hardly find somewhere to live. So the thought of giving away homes to immigrants does piss people off. Oh yeah, I guess it like it depends on what rules your country sets, if that makes sense. Because like here, for example, I'm absolutely GG with the idea of placing them in old Soviet housing. I think it's kind of okay. I think there's a lot of the apartments that are very cheap and also very unused, because, you know, mostly you just have students being in them for a while if they're like poor and they need a place to stay. So I'm GG with that. No one's really missing a place in those. But you know, if you're actually like doing stuff like building new houses, even then I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I guess it depends, because like it's immigrants. If they're immigrants, they probably have a way to survive in the country. They probably have a job. How is giving them housing different to giving housing to foreigners who come into your country to work? Do you not give them housing? We give them housing. Do you not give them housing? Tried something similar when the POV center got bombed. They told it was Ukraine. Oh yeah, and it took a while for that one to get debunked. Oh shit, that was quite a long time. I don't give them housing. Ah. Illegal immigrants don't have jobs. They get paid to live. I'm not sure that is true. I'm not sure that is correct. For the illegal immigrants? Why would you be paying for the illegal immigrants? I could see doing it for refugees, but like immigrants? You don't normally pay for immigrants to stay in the country. Immigrants are just foreigners. Like, you know, in Italy, for example, they get by begging around and stuff like that. You know, like they do stuff to make a living, but they're not paid by the state to live there. That would be the first time I'm hearing about that. Companies have it just as hard to find housing for their employees. Ah yeah, then you're dealing with like completely different issues than we are. Air defense missile? Are they bombing themselves to get more aid? Oh shit, yeah, that too. Housing shortage argument is misguided. Big real estate firms and foreign investors own so many apartments, they simply don't rent out to squeeze the market. Developers also refuse to build new buildings to keep the prices high. General public are just too ignorant to recognize the actual cause of the problem, and it's not immigrants. I could see that. Some illegals have been in the UK for years. Yeah, but like they're getting paid by the state. That would be the first time I'm hearing about that. Illegal immigrants apply for asylum. What are the asylum rules? It can't be just like, oh, you came from a foreign country. Are there... Do we think the rule... Oh shit, Armenia, sorry. Do we think the rule is just you came from a foreign country, you can get asylum? Because that's usually not how it works. Usually there's quite strict rules that you have to fulfill in order to be getting the asylum. And it's not just you being a foreigner. Like, what are the requirements to get an asylum in UK? Oh, being stuck in migrant camps, I do see that. That's also that's the fault of the country. I blame that for the country. No, they can't refuse to be processed. The country must process their request. That's what the country must do. If a country doesn't do that properly, it's their fault. They gotta fix that system. They gotta sort out the paperwork properly. Some illegal immigrants have applied 5 times in a row for asylum. They get declined and they just reapply, and the government refuses to deport them. Oh yeah, so it's the fault of the government for refusing to deport them. I do see that. I don't see the idea of them being paid to live in a country. I don't see illegal immigrants being paid to live in a country. Erdogan, yeah, they switched talkers ever since. I'm waiting for the horse face dude, or I'm waiting for Zelensky. Unless you wanna follow all the speakers. Do you wanna follow all the speakers? They do not provide any ID. Yeah, we should figure out a way to deal with that. Absolutely. how to say this? I don't know how harsh it sounds, but like I don't think that the choice on being processed or not should be on the immigrant in question. I think the system should be set up so that when you get an asylum application, you can figure out whether it's proper and the person deserves an asylum, or if you're going to deny it, then you deny it. But I don't think this should be like anyone's... You shouldn't ask people if they want to be processed in the system. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think this should be... And I'm not really under the impression this is their choice in the first place. You refuse to disclose any info on yourself? Yeah, but like then you should just be denied. I don't see why they wouldn't just treat it as a denied... No, not just a denied request, but like there's no need to try to take this person's asylum request seriously. They're refusing to provide any information on themselves. So I see how this could be solved by Meloni's idea of making deals with certain countries where you send the immigrants if they have been refused. You can't import them from the camp? Yeah, because we still don't have a system for that, right? UK did this to Rwanda? Yeah, UK did it rather interestingly. They just shipped everyone to Rwanda. The idea was to ship everyone there. Like I remember at the time the deal was made, there were at least 2 Albanians that they wanted to ship. Like, but you know, I see why. We should have a similar deal to that. I see that. No, North Korea, holy shit. Build factories, force the immigrants to work in them for very low pay. You're talking about slavery, basically. No? Oh, plus, usually what happens when immigrants come to our country, if you allow them in, usually they do find a job. Like they already work minimum payment jobs. That's what they already do. Shipping Albanians to Rwanda sounds like UK. Yeah, that's what they attempted. That's what they attempted at the time. But I thought the deal with Rwanda was maybe even okay-ish. To some extent. Like there obviously were huge problems with it, which was, you know, shipping all of them there. But at the same time, like, UK was paying to Rwanda for it, right? I haven't looked at this story in a while. I don't know if there's like any new shit happening about it. So my memory is a bit rusty. But the way I remember it, UK was paying for this, right? Like Rwanda was supposed to get some funds from UK in return. I think that's an okay deal. I think that's fine. Remove all welfare. There's usually not really a lot of welfare for immigrants in the first place. UK is paying Rwanda, but I believe it would be cheaper for the UK government than housing them in the UK. Yeah, stuff like that. Yeah, definitely. It seems like an acceptable deal though. Like again, of course, there are problems with it. But I feel like with Meloni's idea of making these types of deals with several countries, so if you know a person is from a specific country, you can just ship them right back. You keep on funding the country, and then by funding the country, I guess you kind of hope something's going to improve in it after a while. Plus, you don't have the same migrant crisis. Plus, the countries are linked to Europe now, so they want to be liked by European Union because they're getting European Union funds. So again, there's like hopes of something improving on that scale. I'm hoping the deal could actually be good. I don't know if I'm too positive on it. It seems like a solution that could actually work, especially if a country in question needs workers. You know, like you could use workforce, plus you're getting European Union funds, so you can open a bunch of new factories and shit, and build your infrastructure. I feel they could be benefiting. I don't know if I'm being too positive over it. I'm trying to figure out a way to deal with it. Yeah, let me play you the video until the end. And then we'll see what's happening at the UN.
Reception Center. Christine,
It's a fucking mess,
do
yeah.
tell us more about von der Leyen and Meloni's
Just, it's
visit
important
to the
to solve
center,
it
and what was the message from the
in
two
a way
leaders?
that keeps as many people
Monica, the two leaders visited the center.
safe.
They were here for less than 10 minutes where
and
they spoke to
prospering
obviously the
as
volunteers on the
possible.
ground. They did have some interaction with the migrants and then they left. We heard, just picking up from the soundbite you just aired, Italy's Prime Minister insists that the
I don't
issue
really know if
around
China
irregular
is the
migration
system you want to
cannot be
be
solved within Europe's
basing
borders.
your
She spoke about
imaginary
the fact that
world
the European
around.
needed to go out and seek solutions in the origin countries, that is going to the countries where the migrants are coming from and striking deals, particularly with North African countries where people are making the crossings from. She wants to see the European Union increase and bolster its aerial and naval surveillance, with the idea being to make sure that people don't make it to the European Union. She cited the deal with Tunisia. That is a deal or a memorandum of understanding, to be more precise, which will see Tunisia holding back migrants, that is, of course, cracking down on the smuggling networks in exchange for euros from the European Union. Today, the Italian Prime Minister urging the European Union to accelerate the implementation of that agreement. So the solution on that end is really say we cannot deal with this problem within our borders.
Whether it's slavery or not is not defined
the EU chief von der Leyen
by them
acknowledged that the
receiving a
European
very
Union
tiny
needed to step in
paycheck.
and help Italy. She urged other EU
I don't think
member
you know what
states
slavery is.
to step up by offering and volunteering to take some migrants that are in Italy who have arrived in the last few days. Whether or not that call will be
270?
heeded is meant to be heard. But she has also said that she's going to be deploying
Yeah,
the
you don't want to
agency
emulate
for
the
asylum
Chinese, that is
to
true.
help processing the migrants who are arriving here, taking
Maybe
their
find a better
fingerprints,
system.
registering them, just to ease the burden off of the officials and the authorities and the volunteers who are operating here in Lampedusa.
So let's listen to that soundbite. I think we do have something from Ursula von der Leyen.
Oh, von der Leyen.
Prime Minister Meloni and I are here today to offer a coordinated response by the Italian and European authorities. And I want to be very clear. We have an obligation as part of the international community. We have fulfilled it in the past and we will do so today and in the future. But we will decide who comes to the European Union and under what circumstances,
Okay.
and not the smugglers and traffickers.
Okay.
So EU Commission President Ursula von der Leyen there in Lampedusa. So Christine, you said before that Giorgia Meloni and Ursula von der Leyen spent about 10 minutes there at the migrant reception center. So I assume they
No,
didn't
society getting
experience
older
a
is
lot
a
of
bad
what's
thing.
going on there. Perhaps you could fill us in about the situation there and also about the reaction of the residents of Lampedusa, who are anything but happy.
Of course, you know what the reaction is. Come on. Being paid minimum wage in Spanish already it is, and most of the immigrants work on minimum wage already. It's, you know, I don't know, the idea of them getting huge riches in the form of welfare isn't really realistic. We aren't having children, our societies are getting older, and we already see the consequences of that. A workers' shortage in key sectors like manufacturing and healthcare. In contrast to it, immigrants are more likely to have several children and take up on those badly needed jobs. Yeah, that's what they do mostly. That's what they do. So I definitely agree with that. Yeah, and also, yeah, less taxpayers to pay for the pensions of the old people, definitely. Getting foreign workers in your country absolutely is an okay thing. It absolutely is an okay thing, and I don't think we're suffering as a result of that. I do think we need to figure out a way to deal with this crisis better. Maybe a way to say it. I do think there's a lot of failures we have been committing as European Union countries, but also I don't I don't think that we can really get rid of an influx of foreign workers and then hope that our economy and our infrastructure stays the way it is. We've gotten quite spoiled. And I really don't think we want to go to a situation where we have even less taxpayers around. Let them work longer if they want to. I think they already can, or? I know my relative in Germany, he worked physically hard jobs his entire life, had several surgeries because of it. Just genuinely physically hard jobs. He's a German, by the way. Just in case that matters for the conversation, because we're talking about immigrants. But he's a full German. Been there his entire life. So he worked very physically hard jobs for a very good paycheck, but very physically hard jobs. And he went into pension a few years ago, and he applied to do a part-time job because he's bored in his pension. So I think you can already do that. I don't really know what are the laws about it here. But I know in Germany he legally works. He is delivering packages. He likes driving. He likes driving a lot. So he just loads packages in his car, goes, drives around, chills, has fun. So I think there is a chance for them to do it. Oh, less economic activity? I'm not sure anyone is going to agree to that. Yeah, I'm not sure anyone's going to agree to that. I know I won't. Some countries raised it from a very low level and bitched about it. We would be bitching, my dude. We would be bitching, okay? That's way too long. That's way too long to wait. I'm okay with retirement age staying as low as possible, and then if you want to work part-time, you can work part-time. But I'm okay with a very low retirement age. You can also work full-time past your retirement age. Oh, I thought it was only part-time because he works part-time. Living standards increase with less people. On which country are you basing that information on? What? Whose economic activity have you looked at to make that claim? Less people is better? Yeah, I'm not sure that makes any sense. Why? Less people compared to what? Less density? 69 is the retirement age? That's fucking ridiculous. Bro, I want to live to see 60. That's goddamn cruel. Goddamn cruel. It should stay on 50 something. Okay, leave us alone. Nice. Fair.
Right. Well, Monica, by the time they arrive, the situation has obviously de-escalated quite a bit in the sense that there are far less migrants
I wanted
in the
it to be
reception center behind me than
420.
there have been. At some point, this place peaked with about 4,000 people behind the fence there. I'll remind you again that that facility can only accommodate 400 people. At the moment, as of this morning, we were told that there were some 1,500 people. There's a big group behind me that is preparing to be taken off from the reception center to board a ferry to take them to other parts of Italy. The conditions are cramped in that space. They would have seen for themselves, even though there's been a considerable effort to clean up the area around this place and to, of course, move people off of the migration center. It's still packed and crowded. Migrants restless at times. We can hear scuffles breaking out. They would have seen that firsthand. They would have seen the faces of the very desperate and vulnerable people that are behind that fence.
Vatican
who are now
has few
waiting to be
people and they
removed
live
here
in palaces.
and taken to other areas. You talked about the local locals. Locals have, for the most part, shown solidarity. They understand the plight of the people coming over here, that these people are fleeing desperate, often economic conditions in the countries where they live. But Lampedusians say, we simply cannot accommodate these people, that we need help. These people cannot stay here. There had been reports that the Red Cross was thinking about setting up another center somewhere, pitching tents and building some kind of a camp. Residents of Lampedusa came out to protest against that. They said they didn't want that to happen, and we understand the Red Cross this morning releasing a statement saying those plans were never plans in any case, but it will not be happening. So you can sense that it is an issue causing tension here, but Ursula von der Leyen being here today, the European Union showing its presence and saying to Italy that we're going to help has very much been received.
All right, DW's Christine Mundwa reporting in Lampedusa. Thank you so much, Christine.
Oh, that's it. Well, fair. Well, fair. But yeah. Overall, very problematic. Very, very, very problematic. And I'm looking forward to see what Meloni is going to say about this, because I'm very, very interested in Meloni. Very, very, very interested in Meloni, and I'm very, very, very interested in her comments on it. And I'm very interested in how much influence she will be having over attempting to... Biden blames Russia alone for Ukraine war, fucking based. I'm very interested in what she is going to attempt to do about it, because I don't know how much power she's going to be getting. I basically know that they don't really trust her. I know that she was seen as a right-wing candidate for a while, and she was surrounded by some rather colorful individuals. So I see why they didn't trust her, but I'm hoping that she manages to do something proper and actually manages to maybe figure out a solution to this that keeps the people safe, but also figures out a way to put it under control. Babak, what did she say? Haven't seen that. But yeah, what else did I have? I had a bunch of stuff. I had the animation to show you, by the way. New animation has released in Dawn. You're still on the fence? Yeah. I'm very hopeful because she's absolutely based on Ukraine. So I think that by itself is pushing me strongly to consider her as a proper choice of a politician. She's very strong. She's very, very strong on Ukraine. But at the same time, yeah, I don't know how much I trust her other positions. I kind of know it. I don't trust her. Yeah, it was alleged she is the Italian fascist. She was seen as strongly right-wing, and she is. In some conversations, she genuinely is very strongly right-wing. It does it so far. She's mostly just been very loud and outspoken on Ukraine. She hasn't really done a lot more. I think she's benefiting possibly from the fact that this issue is the one taking most of her time. So she doesn't have to do a lot of commentary on social issues. Moderate fascist. Modern European fascist. Yeah, like a softer version, a bit of a softer version. I remember she was very anti-European Union for a while. I remember Ursula made a comment on how if Meloni gets voted in Italy, European Union will show it has a system to deal with problematic governments. I remember that was like a really, really big thing, which I think formed a lot of people's opinions on the whole dynamics. Yeah, we will punish. Yeah, it was basically similar to that. But I do think Meloni was and is surrounded by interesting individuals. The fact that she is so strong on Ukraine, I didn't see it coming. I genuinely didn't see it coming. Wasn't Berlusconi that just like until very recently? She was very sus. And then she became kind of better. And now it's like this is going to be a real test of how much we can trust her, I think. This is going to be very, very interesting. I hope if she is going down the bad road, I hope she's not given too much access to power. Moderate fascist. I mean, have you seen Meloni? It's like, she's been forced to talk only about stuff that she's correct on, though, so that's kind of cool.
Ти чув? Кадиров здох.
Кадиров,
Це
да.
точно? Так, я впевнений. Бо мені здається, що це якийсь фейк. Та ні, думаю, що це не фейк. Я вообще-то еще жив, Дон.
Дон.
В тебе є якісь докази? Та про це всі говорять. Але я все одно чомусь не впевнений. Та точно тобі кажу.
Basically, actually, what happened though? Didn't he do a whole video like walking around? He did a whole video walking around his residence, and he's like, "Guys, I'm still alive. I'm still alive." Done. And I saw people trying to figure out how was it when the video was filmed, because it's been raining. You can see in the video that there's been rain, right? So he's there walking around his residence, and you see it's been raining recently, and people are trying to point on the timeline of when this was filmed. And there's two options. One option is that it was filmed that morning when it was published, because it was raining that morning when it was published. The other option is it was filmed like, I think, 2 months ago. And they ran with the option of it being filmed 2 months ago. That was my favorite thing about this. It's such a beautiful display of just like how much no one trusts this man. Like, of course, the logical solution would be, yeah, okay, he uploaded the video now. He says he uploaded the video now. The weather patterns match. So there's a big likelihood that it actually was filmed when he says it was. No. They just claimed he had to film it 2 months ago, because why not? This one, by the way, this is a really, really cool video, but it's on Elon Musk stopping Starlink. I thought it was very, very sad. Yeah. He saw it. He's a piece of shit. It went viral on Twitter. He saw it. He knows. He knows. Little bitch knows. He made a whole Twitter post about him not being a traitor to the state, because people were calling him a traitor to the state because he betrayed his own state, basically. So deserved criticism all over. 2 months before, he knew everyone would be thinking he's that. To be fair, the way video was shown, the way he speaks in the video is like, done, don't trust done, stuff you see done online, done. And a lot of people have the idea, still have the idea, they still don't trust it, which I can't, but they have the idea that it was filmed previously when, if you remember, Russians started the lie that Zaluzhny was dead. And then they started the lie that Budanov was dead, right? So the idea is that he was trying to talk about how these events are fake, but then it's like the same video is being used now. Starlink was actually paid by Washington, as far as we know. It was an agreement, like with the USA government. He was supposed to be providing it. It was a direct betrayal of USA. even if it was not, the fact that he chose to turn it off is rather curious. But yeah, that too also. Ukrainians paid for a lot of terminals, Poles paid for a lot of terminals, a lot of them were paid for by volunteers. We were collecting a lot of cash money to pay for Starlink. We still are collecting a nice amount of cash to pay for Starlink. But yeah, overall, I don't know how much you followed the story. I followed the story quite closely. There were conversations about him possibly being target of investigation, which I absolutely, fully, 100% support. The way he started it, the way this conversation started, the way it was first presented to us, was that Elon Musk Elon Musk shut off Starlink purposefully because he wanted to stop the Ukrainian attack on the Russian fleet. So the first version of the story, which is the version which was supposed to be written in his biography book, by a man who has been following Elon closely for the past few years. So yeah, personally, I'm buying into the idea that the first story, either the dude thought genuinely it was true, because he like observed some evidence to say that, or Elon said it. But I'm fully into the idea that the first version, the one that Elon heroically saved the world from nuclear war by shutting off Starlink, I genuinely believe this is the version that Elon wanted to go public. Now, of course, this was published, people read it immediately, didn't see him as a hero. So then we got the second version, which was that Starlink was never allowed in Crimea. So when Ukraine wanted to do the attack, it asked Elon to allow Starlink coverage in Crimea, and Elon again refused it because he is a hero who saved us from the nuclear war. Again, a story which paints him as a traitor to USA. But in the second one, personally, I saw it very unlikely to be true. Fully unlikely to be true. But in the second one, what's important is that it still places Elon as the man who made this decision. And this is important because then we got the third version of the story. And the third version of the story was that Elon had no way to approve of this if USA government didn't allow it. So the third version removes responsibility. First two versions we got were that he is a hero because he personally chose to protect the Russian fleet. And then we get version number 3, which is like, no, I had no way to do this. I had no way to approve of this. And then we got the version number 4, which is that USA blocked Starlink access to Crimea. So now the responsibility is solely based on blaming USA. It's a ridiculous way that this story keeps on changing constantly. Ridiculous, stupid story. I genuinely think the first version is the one Elon wanted to go public with, because I truly think this man is stupid enough to think it paints him as a hero. What was it? Retardation. Market, no, we have found out nothing about the market bombing. We're having allegations. That's the first thing. The second thing is that there's something quite interesting about people trying very desperately to blame a country attempting to defend itself from a foreign invasion, from the deaths happening as a result of the mentioned foreign invasion. Quite of an interesting situation. Quite of a cute little interesting situation where none of you people actually give a shit about the victims here. You're just trying to find graves to be shitting in, so you could be bad-mouthing Ukraine all over. Kinda exhausting at this point, to be completely fair with you. It's like when it came to Poland, when it came to that missile hit inside Poland, And all of a sudden, the pro-Russian people have remembered they care about 2 civilians killed by a missile in Poland, you know? All of a sudden you started caring. Every day we get reports of people killed by Russians. No one gives a shit, but all of a sudden, we must now start caring about civilians because there's allegations that the missile was actually Ukrainian, which, by the way, was never proven. I am fully believing it was a Russian missile, and I'm fully believing that NATO lied about it, in the same way that Romania lied about a Russian missile that flew into Romania. Just fully, 100%, I believe in it. But it's kind of funny. You know, it's like you always care about just only the deaths that push your narrative around. Just stupid way to exist. Yeah, dude. No, fuck Russians overall. It's like you paid for installation of a brake pedal, but brake owner has a way to disable it whenever he wants. Yeah, it's makes Elon and his fams seem very unreliable. Very fucking unreliable. Wait, what is the OS? What is the OS? You're scaring me. You're kind of scaring me. At my house once, a Russian missile landed near it and I went back inside. Ooh. Some truthful video that opened your eyes and you just saw Slovia crying. Gonna be fucking Slovia crying. Wait, by the way, but talking about Russians, I actually had a video from 1420 that I wanted to show yesterday and then I forgot.
О том, что в основном на фронт, на специальную военную операцию уходят с регионов, с республик, с маленьких городов и особенно с деревень, чем с Москвы, например.
Ну, естественно, это так.
Ну, почему так? Не знаете?
Без понятия. Ну, там олигархов много в Москве, в больших городах.
Как бы и власть сама находится в Москве, но родину защищать приходится нам.
By the way, this strike thing.
Не верите, вон, кладбище пройдите.
Bullshit we haven't said.
В маленьких городах и у нас, вот везде, вот в Чувашии маленьких кладбище пройдите, вот какие знамена там висят, стоят.
Вообще не уходят, говорят. Вот его сестра живет у нас теперь, говорит, даже не слышала, что из Москвы отправляют на фронт.
Наверное, так и происходит. Всегда армия содержалась за счет сельской молодежи.
Ну и сейчас так же получается, да?
Получается, да.
Ну, почему всегда так?
Ну, большие города, там богатые люди не служат.
А родина
It is how it is.
обычным нам людям, да?
Да, простым людям.
Почему? Из Московской области тоже служат.
Не из Москвы, а не из столиц, из больших городов не идут.
Как не идут? Если будут призывать, они, мне кажется, не откажутся.
Я бы такого не сказал. То, что информацию передает. Наверное, патриотизм не зависит. Большой, маленький город.
То есть вы считаете, что по-равному выходит и из маленьких городов, и
Да,
из больших?
да. Главное, должен быть патриотизм. Надо любить свою родину.
Просто есть статистика.
Статистика.
Статистика,
что угодно можно написать.
What are you doing?
Ну, говорят, что официальная. Вот послушайте.
Еще раз вам говорю, статистика что угодно можно знать. Главное, человек должен любить свою родину, патриотизм должен быть. Вот поэтому основном идут такие ребята, которые уважают свою родину.
Ну, наверное, легче призывать.
Broad Russell brand conversation is so fucking weird.
Даже не найдешь, а в деревнях очень можно
So fucking weird.
Все друг друга знают, да?
Да.
Like I remember being a fan of the dude in 2014.
Что ты будешь делать?
His brand was the fact that he's an abuser.
Ты не будешь смотреть.
Like there's no question about it. 2014, 2010s, right? Yeah, it was a whole meme that like he's a sex pest. That's literally what the meme was. And he was quite popular at the time. But all the jokes about him were that he's a sex pest. It was like, oh, if you're a woman, you can't be close to him, especially if you're a minor. He himself made jokes about it. Like, I'm not questioning the allegations for a second. There's some like history revisionism in the fact people are going, Russell Brand? He would never. Bro, that was literally the entire meme. Oh yeah, he was crazy popular for the time. He went on Big Fat Quiz and everything. He was huge there. Life goes on, truly.
Почему они не уходят?
You can forget K-pop.
Наших берут, нищебродов берут. Вот смысл, нищебродов берут, они идут за деньгами.
Ну, то есть следует сделать по справедливости, да?
Да. Чтобы москали туда ходили, а не только наши эти.
Но человек, у которого денег много, он не хочет, он красивый, когда живет, он не хочет и на войну идти. Зачем ему погибать?
You know, like the guy? I had a thing with like liking the guy, but being aware of the stories.
Человек на престижной машине едет, хороший, красивый, да?
Kamawari probably makes me sound like a horrible person when I was a teenager, but like I was aware of it. And it's not that I thought the jokes are fake. I just kind of took it as, you know, what he is. Thought he's rather funny regardless. Yeah, his eyes are scary. He does have a very scary way of behaving. You never heard about him before? Oh, he was huge for a while. I remember being a kid in high school and defending him because he broke up with Katy Perry over a phone or whatever. Before her show, whatever the fuck it was. It was like some OKT magazine drama. Yeah, he looks like a sex pirate. Yeah, Katy Perry, and then she had like a big concert or whatever, and he broke up with her, and then she was really sad. And I remember being a teenager and defending that.
Ну, я не думаю, что там есть дети министров, там генералов и чиновников. По крайней мере, мне таких фактов неизвестно. Берут, как обычно.
I knew a strike was coming. It's not about sexing groupies, it's about being a sex pest. Like, I remember conversations, genuine conversations about his sex addiction being in the public space very often. Man was genuinely like addicted. He genuinely had a problem. Yeah, I didn't see the documentary yet, I didn't have time. But,
большое горе, вспышка может быть, народное волнение. А маленький городок, конечно, не хочется сказать, что, конечно, умирает, но поплакали и завтра забыли, и все. Меньше, проблем меньше.
Там сидят эти богачи-то, они что, свои-то не отправляют, что взять, что это за...
I think Vosh made a good comment on this.
Не выкрутятся. Где он послабже регион?
That like it's very easy to get out of these allegations if you cosplay as a anti-regime influencer for a while. Like if Epstein himself, before the truth came out, if he went and talked against the system and against the establishments and against the institutions, he would probably also be defended. You have Andrew Tate, who like admitted to what he is doing. His brother admitted to what he is doing. There's no question. And people are defending them just because they see them against the establishment. Same thing with Russell Brand. Like there's no question if he did this or not.
Ну как, ну знают, ну что, поплачут, для одних это горе, конечно, так сказать. Ну поплачут там, односельчане, так сказать, будут помнить. И все, как бы, для государства.
Only some people gonna agree for you.
Я считаю, что это не та цена, за которую она постоит.
Можно ли считать, что для деревенского пойти на фронт на СВО, это сейчас как социальный лифт получается? Он пойдет туда и будет...
Social lift.
Согласен, да. Вот это правительство наше...
Bro, your limbs are chopped off. And you keep on being poor. What do you mean a social lift?
Им много льгот дают, правильно? Так и должно быть. Это при царе было. Вот это офицеров ценили очень сильно. Очень сильно офицеров ценили это, при царской армии. Они зарплату получали лучше любой другой профессии. Да, их уважали. А сейчас вот так престиж поднимается. Сейчас Путин это поднял вопрос. Это все офицеров уважают.
С вашей деревни сколько человек уехало на фронт? Знаете ли
Oh
вы?
shit.
У меня племянник свой родной, вот, младшего брата там с самого начала. Его даже
Australian.
вот после операции увезли, забрали у него на ногах штырь поставлен, нога сломанная была. Так и
Fuck, I need to
забрали.
show you Russell Brand.
Он сейчас
I want to
с
be
самого
bitching about
начала
Russell Brand now that we got onto the topic.
Госпитализировали,
Да,
вылечился.
здесь он-
Let me
здесь
see,
он-
there's a compilation of his stupidity on Ukraine. Bro, the fact he was allowed to talk about this pisses me off, fucking pisses me off. Loner box. Destiny, can we even watch Destiny? He's been banned. Are we even allowed to do that? Thing goes right when you call it surprises. It reminds me though, that joke reminds me of that one. There was this one like interview thing they did at universities, and they asked men if they ever raped someone, and they were like, no, holy shit, no, I would never do that. And then they rephrased the question, they were like, did you ever get a girl so drunk that she was basically unable to refuse sex? And the dudes were like, yeah, that's a wholly different thing, that's not rape, that's just me getting a girl so drunk she can't refuse. Did you ever like keep on asking and asking and asking and she kept on refusing, but you kept on pressuring her until she said yes? Yeah, but that's also not rape. And it's because I think people don't know what rape is. People have no idea what rape is. People see rape as a man attacks you in the street, a stranger attacks you in the middle of the street, and that's it. I don't think they know how most rape happens. I don't really think they know what it is. It's like the idea of the rape is not the same thing as rape itself. She got herself that drunk. I don't own her. What, are you, a sexist? Yeah, basically, yeah. Destiny admitted to being a sexual abuser. What? He groped her son on stream. Can't blame him for that. Can't blame him for that. Good at gaslighting. That's quite scary. I hope we stay on very good terms for him. That is quite scary. That is quite terrifying. But yeah, Hassan.
In 2016, after a 7-year
Why were they on the
inquiry,
same stream?
the Chilcot report into the UK's role in the Iraq War was released.
No malicious bones, but you're good at gaslighting. Hey, by the way, we should end the stream soon. We are raiding MEP today. Raiding MEP today. How long is this video? Very long. No, we're gonna watch it next time. We are raiding MEP today because MEP is talking to you about European Union and European Parliament and Giorgia Meloni, and you need to be talking about it. Okay, you need to be knowing what is going on. You need to be aware of the situation. I want a date? No. Spiders? You should see me trying to save them from inside my house. Oh my man, I used to be killing them just without thinking. I used to be killing them. Is this the one where he calls it Baroque accusations? What did I want to say? I forgot. I used to be killing them, and I remember one day reading some stupid ass Twitter post. And it was like, imagine someone kills you just because you are tiny. And that just made me go, well. That makes me feel bad about killing them now. And ever since then I'm trying to save their lives. Even though, do they deserve it? It's questionable. Why are we really sending illegal cluster bombs to Ukraine? He goes. He's a Tucker Carlson fan. That makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of fucking sense. By the way, I'm watching. There's no Zelensky. There's no Zelensky. There's absolutely no Zelensky yet. Keep on having it in the background. He's not around. You're gonna have to watch him later.
Pry it open, why don't you? But doesn't it annoy that, because reading, you know, because obviously they get all the press concern, and do you sometimes think, oh, just Russell, shut up, stop saying things, because you know.
Well, my
Russia.
mother-in-law
Ooh.
is in the audience, so I can't be too rude today.
This was while they were dating. I don't care about their opinions while they were dating. She always had boobs this big. She has big boobs.
Okay, obviously you want to keep your private.
Shit, I noticed her
Do you
makeup
sometimes
was
think,
really
oh,
good.
just Russell, shut
Like it works with her face. She has round eyes. It's cute.
Because you know.
Well, my mother-in-law is in the audience, so I can't be too rude.
I mean, yes.
But I
Or
want
It's never a dull moment, I'll say that. It's kind of like an ongoing episode of I Love Lucy. That's why I married him, because he's just so hilarious.
Have you married him
I mean, that's why I'm marrying him.
the Brits. But I guess. I mean, she is a celebrity. Most of them are built very similarly, I want to say. Hey, by the way, if someone watched this, let me know. But we are going to raid MEP now, and I'm going to leave. But if someone watched that one, let me know, because I do wonder why he hasn't been arrested yet. I don't feel like watching the dude. I saved the No Fuckers video for today to think about whether I want to watch it or not, because one part of it, we haven't gone through this topic. We haven't gone through like a bunch of stuff that I have saved, okay? But, wait. I wanted to go through, copy? Through that new propaganda video you might have seen online with Russian kids, basically singing about how they hope for Russia to win. A bunch of girls dressed in Russia colors, and No Fuckers made a video on it. He made a video on Russian youth, basically. The new face of Russian youth, or whatever the fuck. And a part of me wants to watch it, because I want to... I'm sure he has more videos, and I want to watch the new videos. But another part of me is... I would feel very slimy watching the man. Because he did that one video on how he feels about Russia, and in no part of the video does he mention the ongoing genocide attempt. No part of the video he doesn't mention that. He doesn't mention the invasion of Georgia. He doesn't mention what they did to Chechens. He doesn't mention shit. The whole video is basically think what Volkov would say if he had a platform. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of... like I want to watch, but also I don't want to watch. You know what I mean? I feel slimy. I feel slimy about the dude recently. He really disappointed me with that one. I kept on waiting for him to say something smart in that video, and he just kept on being worse and worse and worse. Hey, Dylan video also saved that one. Yeah, the Kraken one. I haven't watched it. This one. Here he is. Haven't watched it. I don't know if it's good. We're gonna have to. We have to watch a lot of videos tomorrow. Okay. But I'm hyped. Anastasia posted about it on her Twitter. She said she's very, very pleased with the way that the video has been made. So I'm kind of hyped. I trust that lady, okay? I trust Anastasia so much. I'm hoping it's gonna be good. I'm hoping it's gonna give us some new information. Anna also participates in asking questions. Fuck yeah! Oh shit, I can't wait to watch that. If we don't have time, if we skip over watching it tomorrow too. By the way, update for those of you who weren't here yesterday when we were shutting off the stream. Tomorrow's stream happens in normal time, so afternoon. Then one day we have a stream break, because I have to work in the afternoons and in the morning I have to drive. So we will not be able to do a stream on Thursday, but we'll do a stream on Friday and Saturday both in the morning hours. So old time, stream time. So be hyped for that, okay? So if we don't get to watch it tomorrow, I will be watching it on my free day. Also raid very, very soon, in like 10 seconds. So See ya. Let's learn about European Union. When the fuck does this